I don't know if it goes back, but I guess I already started. I already started streaming.
Whoops.
I didn't realize he was gone. Oops. I just thought he was being quiet.
No, he went to the restroom real quick, I think.
No doubt. All right. Well, professional streamer. Yeah. Right. Right, Mac. Thanks.
Anytime, at any time.
Yeah, I know. I totally deserve it. Should have checked, and I didn't hear the fourth voice.
Okay, we just need to stall like this for a few more seconds so it looks natural.
Yeah, right. It's fine. No worries. You know, it's good. It's just the streets of New Capenna.
This is when you, this is
Discussion
when
that
you
we're
add
gonna
one of
have.
those like this is when you add one of those anime like be right back screens.
Yeah, right. Like, oops, we'll be right back. Dun, 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 dun. Nah, no. Unfortunately, I'm not at that technical level yet. Not yet professional streamer.
One
Just
day
trying.
soon. One day.
I'm just gonna bite my tongue over here.
Yeah, no. Look, I never admitted. I don't get paid for this. I'm not a professional.
No, you pay to do this.
Yeah, pretty much. That makes me even worse than a professional. It makes me a hobbyist.
Is there anything worse?
Hard.
Possibly.
Did you guys buy any of New Capenna? Or
Uh,
pick up or
have
pick up singles or anything?
have not bought anything yet. Possibly soon. Work is picking up for me finally. So yeah, so I might actually have a little bit of money to throw around on some new cards sooner rather than later.
Nice. If you don't care too much about art, a lot of the stuff is pretty cheap as long as you're not going for like the main guild members.
Yeah, you know,
If you
I think what I might do is I might do the same thing I did with Neon Dynasty, which is just buy like two set boxes, and then see where I go from there.
yeah, that's fair.
You
I'm
know,
I think in the set boosters,
unless the collector boxes are back to their normal value and not this like crazy $250 $300 shit they were doing in Kamigawa.
isn't that? I thought that was like the normal pricing, like around 200.
No, like around 200 was the normal pricing. The new Neon Dynasty ones I kept seeing for like 250 and up.
That's wild.
Yeah, well, I figured out what it was with Neon Dynasty. With Neon Dynasty, it was the full art lands that were driving up the value because everywhere I was looking, like those cards actually had a little bit of value attached to them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
More so than like regular basic lands because they're pretty, and I totally get it. But it jacked up the value of all the boxes because I couldn't even get a set box for under $100, and most of the previous sets I was able to get set boxes for under $100 at some point. You know, I
I
ended
just
up paying
haven't.
like 110.
I just haven't gotten around to buying. Like, if I were to buy the singles I really, really want right now, it's like $16, and
Yeah,
that includes a foil.
nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not really that expensive a set. I guess because there's so many different artworks and like, oh my god, the gilded foils are so gorgeous in person.
Oh no, the foil is a gilded foil, and it's $1.50.
That's wild.
Oh, it's a card we'll get to, and a card that actually let me pull up my notes on this one. I don't need notes, but it's one that I'm
yeah. I have like little like quick notes about like particular cards that I wanted to talk about. Like, I actually want to talk about shield counters because I think shield counters are a very interesting mechanic.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I want to build the counter rhino. I saw a build. I saw on MTG Goldfish. They had like a deck building competition with new Capenna commanders, and like apparently someone built a version of him with like 80 different types of counters.
Yeesh.
oh god. Oh yeah, Zen. I lean towards the more like EDH, but the more higher powered version. So that's just
Right.
that's my like lens for
Yeah,
what all.
I try to play a little bit of everything. Like I have CDH decks and stuff like
Yeah,
that, but sometimes
yeah.
you want to play some casual jank too, you know?
Sometimes
Well,
I
and
just
they're
want to play
distinctly
Charm
different
Tribal.
too, because you can't really shove like random CDH staples into a deck and really call it casual. It's just never gonna work right.
No.
I'm glad you're back now because I have to fix your volume a little bit, and I was hoping to do this before we went live, but unfortunately we're live. So
Oh, sorry, I was helping my mom get
no,
go to bed. And
yeah, no doubt, brother, no doubt. But everybody's back now, so we can actually
Stalling
start talking
plan
about some
worked.
cards.
The
So
stalling plan worked.
yes, very good, worked out just fine. Anyway.
I guess I still didn't fix my lateness issue. Got it.
You're fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's cool. So let's get started. Let's start with Angelic Observer. Anybody got anything to say about Angelic Observer, Mac?
I mean, I'll just do 10 seconds. If you're playing an Angel deck, sure, it's another name. I do.
Yeah, this card's pretty unremarkable, I think.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what's funny? I looked up just before this, especially because Mac had said something in the Discord chat earlier about this card. I was like, are there any cards outside of New Capenna that make citizens? And it turns out there are 4. And like they're all shit. You know, you have one card where you could tap and discard a card to create 2 citizens. You have another card that's 6 mana to create 4 citizens. I think that's a Icatian Town, and Icatian Crier was the first one. Then you have some card from War of the Spark that creates like 2/2/2 citizens that are all colors.
Yes,
it's
the
like,
7-mana spell.
yeah, it's like a 7 mana spell. And then there's Sarpadian Empires Volume 7.
Oh, I forgot that made citizens. That's
yeah,
cool.
it makes white citizen tokens. But
Oh, yeah.
there's only 25 total cards that make citizen tokens, and they're stretched out across the colors because of New Capenna. So, like Angelic Observer's garbage.
Well,
Right.
that's a bigger problem in general with some of this stuff too. Is like especially now that Commander's such a large focus. I think it's annoying how they make stuff that's not really as focused. I know this is a standard set and a draft set. I get that, but like it would be nice if they didn't have stuff that was so tied to one mechanic or one family, because I think
One
citizens
plane.
are related to one
Really,
family.
one plane. More
Well-
so than anything, because where else have we seen citizens? Very rarely outside of New Capenna. New Capenna, we see a ton of them.
That's true.
Like, I'm fine with the focus on like citizen as long as they like give it, if they're going to like do this kind of support, at least sprinkle in some stuff like, oh, we're gonna put this, okay creature in the future, but it's also a citizen. Just
yeah,
for like that.
let's see citizens in like Ravnica next time we go back to Ravnica.
Yeah.
Let's see an occasional citizen in like other sets when
Yeah.
we show up in other planes.
Well, you want Wizards to follow up with support on them. Dude, I'm still waiting for more mutate stuff, man.
Like
You and me
not
both, bro. You and me both.
not to go too off topic, it's one of the things I liked about Lorwyn is that it was certain creature type focused. But then Morningtide came out and was like, oh, we're going to do class focuses. And I like that kind of thing where it's like, we're not going to focus mainly on just, the creature type. We're going to focus on what's like, well, still creature type, but class type.
Yeah,
And
we
I
need,
like
we need more
that.
Shaman Tribal.
Yeah,
Any more what tribal?
shaman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there should be more cat tribal.
Well, you'll
Oh,
always
no,
say
Yeah.
that, we know.
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. We'll get to that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have plenty to talk about with cats. So
Yeah, I got my issues with cats in this set.
Oh.
So,
One aside, you brought up Sarpadian Empires Volume 7.
Uh-huh.
I want to bring up, it actually got an errata to remove the italicized text from its name. That's the only errata they did.
hilarious. That you know something? I expected that to happen eventually. Because it probably wreaks havoc with search engines and shit like that.
No, it's because italicized text is only for flavor text. So its name, I guess, it existed, but it was just more of a cleaning up. It's something funny with that card and that card alone.
No doubt.
Anyways.
That's good to know. Anyways, so I guess nothing else on Angelic Observer. How about Backup Agent? Anybody got anything to say about Backup Agent?
If you're there, go on.
Sorry, actually, something with Angelic Observer. I guess if you were running changelings, you could like jump through some hoops to get a cheaper flying 3/3. You know, if you're running some cheap changelings in an Angel Tribal deck, I guess.
Or just cheap changelings in general? Because then, I mean,
Yeah.
you're pretty much getting a 1/1 flyer, a 3/3 flyer for one.
Yeah, but then that's also the other problem, right? That you're jumping through so many hoops to just get like a 1 flyer, a 3/3 flyer for 1 mana, right?
Exactly, and Nolly changelings are a very exciting tribe.
Yeah. Well, I disagree.
Well,
I put together.
well, all right.
pretty
They can be, but if you're playing changelings and an Angelic Observer in the changelings deck, you're really kind of desperate.
You're down bad.
Yeah, you're downgrading from something else probably.
Put my changeling list on the Discord. It's spicy, man. Running
Yeah,
rooftop
no.
storm.
Your changeling list is good. I don't think adding Angelic Observer is going to make it better.
Yeah. All right, let's
It
move
might, I
on.
don't know.
Grab
Yeah,
card.
yeah. Let's move on from the garbage. Backup Agent. Anybody?
The only thing I have to say about that is, I remember back in Animar, back in the day, you used to run Iron Shell Beetle and one other card that used to give counter, because it was an easy way to buff him real quick. So like, I like the idea of this, and I didn't really look into it, but it'd be cool to see someone take advantage of stuff like that.
I mean, the Beetle's a 1-drop. This is a 2-drop.
But even they had a 1-drop and a 2-drop for Animar that people used to run years ago.
Yeah,
So like, I
I've
just
seen
wish there was something comparable.
I've definitely seen like that Beetle used in like CEDH versions of Animar, like you said, to just put that quick counter on him, just like cheap, efficient way to get those counters on him.
Yeah, is there anything in white that's like that? I'd be curious to see what you could do with something like that in another color.
Cards that care about actually, white has a lot of cards that care about counters. I don't know if just one counter is gonna really care about it, but I guess Atraxa. I don't know. You could put a 1/1 counter on Atraxa. It's not, you know what it is. It's just that there's other cards that can do more, right?
So it's
Yeah.
better in green then for sure.
I mean, it does have human, which is important, and it's a citizen, guys. You know, you have this, you can get Angelic Observer.
Oh, come on.
For one left. Oh god.
It's just a limited card.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
the-
It's
card
an
world.
okay limited card. We
Like
can move
at
on.
worst, it's a bear.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least for now, maybe. Because
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see people take advantage of that, like they took advantage of the Beetle, something like Animar.
Yeah, I think there's just better ways that you can do it.
Yeah, two for one. If it was a 1-drop, I'd say it'd be a lot more useful. That is human. You know, humans do care about 1/1 counters sometimes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like there
Yeah,
might be situations where it might be somewhat relevant, but I'm not sure.
All right. I think we can move on now, though, huh?
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I was just curious.
How about ballroom brawlers?
I
Anybody?
mean, human and warrior, two relevant typings, 3/5 bodies, not bad. You can get first strike or lifelink.
But only to one creature.
Well, it's to it and one other creature, right? It's
Oh
a-
yes, and one of
Oh.
yeah.
so
That makes it
that's-
more interesting.
Yeah, the fact that it's a human, that's a relevant type. I don't know, maybe like a casual Winota list. Maybe you might want this. You sneak it out. It's just like now Winota can attack too because you can swing with this and give Winota first strike.
It's 5
you
mana
don't-
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you don't like Rick, I guess you could run this.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a bias against those cards, I could see it, but
Again, you know,
So I will
human-
run this card then.
I mean, human and warrior are relevant typings. You know, like I mean, if you were playing a casual, if there's such a thing, a casual Nagila list, maybe you could run this.
Yeah.
you know, I was watching a YouTuber who is like, there's no way you could build Nagila casual, and
she's-
I don't know. I'm sure there's a way you could do it, but it's got to be really hard.
I mean, you can, but there's such a weird distinction. Like, it's hard to even say that type of stuff without defining what casual actually is. It's a bigger
Yeah,
conversation, you know?
that's true too. That's
Like, I
true
know how
too,
you
'cause-
define it and how everyone in here defines it, but like, as far as other people go, I'm not sure.
yeah,
Like the closest I could see to like what a lot of people call casual in GL, and even then it's probably too powerful, would just be like warrior tribal, where all you care about is cards that care about like warriors and all that such. You don't care about like extra combats. You don't care about like, you know, infinite mana setups. You're just like, I'm gonna turn guys sideways and I'm playing like 5-color warriors.
I mean,
And even then, it can
you-
just like,
you want to play a casual Nagila, you could drop one entire color. Just don't play.
Yeah.
Don't play any lands of that one color. You can't go infinite even by mistake. That's a lie. There's still so many ways you can go infinite by mistake.
I mean, it's in the same way as running like Edgar vampires. As long as you just curve out, it's just like you are putting so much on the board.
Yeah.
yeah, you're getting so much value. It's absurd.
So yeah, human war. Maybe if you were in under budget constraints, you might want this card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's definitely going to be a more budget friendly card, but I can see like people who are not concerned with budget. I don't see them playing it.
Yeah.
Like unless there's a human or warrior reason for them to do it. Even then, for 5 mana, that's a lot for a 3/5 that's either going to have first strike or lifelink when it attacks and gives another creature another one. So you have to have a second creature on the table to take advantage of it.
You know, maybe one more thing I could think of. Maybe for like a commander that cares about like keywords. Maybe this could be good. Like
Oh, interesting.
like the what's the angel
Audric.
partner? Yeah, Audric and the angel partner. What's her name?
Akroma.
Akroma. Yeah, maybe stuff like that.
One thing I'd like to point out also is that both creatures have to get the same ability,
Yes.
and you can't give one to one and the other to the other, so you can't like mix and match.
I think you can. It says up to one
No.
of the target creature both gain
Both?
both gain your choice of
Yes.
first strike or lifelink. Oh, but it says gain your choice of first strike or lifelink on the turn. I think you can choose which ones.
But even if you can, Akroma and Audric are still beginning of combat where this has to
Yes.
attack.
That's what I'd
Yeah.
rather say.
yeah, that's an additional problem that doesn't really work with either one of them.
Listen, man, I was trying to give this card a fighting shot. Y'all just coming at me like this.
Sorry, I love them too. I think that they look beautiful together.
Art's good, yeah.
Oh, the art's
art-
amazing.
good.
But
35.
art only so much.
Right.
Anyway, I think we can move on to boon of safety and shield counters in general, because I think this is a good time to talk about shield counters.
I was
There's a
about to
ton
say
of shield
that.
counters. There's a ton of
Like
shield
the-
counters around, so I've got something to say. I'm sure everybody does. So
The card isn't that interesting to me because put a shield counter on, scry one for 1 mana, okay, maybe, but eh. But the discussion around shield counters, I think, is the important part of this card.
yeah, like I really wish this was put a shield counter on target creature, draw a card. Like scry one's okay. Like I don't see people like playing this, but shield counters, it's a pretty good replacement for regeneration. Not a perfect one. It's one that can be manipulated, but it's a pretty good replacement for regeneration that's not indestructible.
Agreed. And I could live with this in decks like Mavinda that, could maybe use it twice. I'm okay with the idea of scrying instead of drawing. Using it more than
yeah.
once.
Yeah,
I
especially
think
because you're targeting your own creatures, and a deck like Mavinda wants to target their own creatures.
Yeah.
I think this card's actually pretty solid. It's 1 mana instant. It can save one of your important creatures, save your commander. I don't think if you're running anything outside of mono white, would you want to see it? But if you're running mono white, it's a way to save your commander. Scrying 1 is useful. Would Feather want something like this? Maybe it doesn't draw, but
Oh no, that'd be pretty interesting in Feather actually. To your
I
point.
could
Yeah.
see Feather like some lower power versions of her wanting it, even like more when you go up at a point, because at a point it's like, okay, there's like Sky 1, even a shield counter isn't enough of a card, but I still would like in Feather.
I
Like-
mean, saving your creature, I think, would be big. Depending on what
it's also-
creature it is.
Well, I mean,
It's
there's only so many slots for like I'm just gonna say it's like a God's willing effect. There's only so many slots, even in Feather, you can dedicate to that kind of effect.
This is true. And usually you want to go for the draw instead of scry.
Yeah.
This is also a comment, so I don't know. Would to see Popper play, I wonder?
Yeah, I think you could definitely see, especially Pauper Commander.
Yeah, I mean, Pauper Commander, it's definitely gonna be around, but like maybe for like really budget decks, because I would think that any better cards than this for like Feather, for example, would
Actually,
probably be pretty cheap.
that reminds me. I had a list a few years back that was like Shu Yun, but the budget was $25, not including him, and I actually would have played this card in that deck. Just
Oh
because
yeah, like Shu Yun is another deck that kind of works on that same principle. I agree.
it
Yeah.
makes him a 4/3, and for like 2 more white, or white, red, red, it also makes him like a 4/3 double strike with a shield counter. I get to scry 1 to see, like, am I going to draw a land? When I cast my next spell that like draws me a card, because I'm playing so many of those, it's just like in there, this I would definitely play it 100%.
Hmm.
I don't know, but then also you're in Shu Young, you have access to blue. It's just like if you have access to
Yeah.
blue, like you really want a card like this? I don't know, but you did prove a good point.
Well-
In a 20 in a budget setting, definitely something you could
Well,
be useful.
The deck is focused around like getting him out and like winning with commander damage. So any way to protect him from like that, like I ran God's Willing, I ran what's the one that's a little bit well, no, it was Apostle's Blessing, and I'd probably run this just because if I can't draw a card, at least manipulating the top of my deck to say, oh, I don't need this land, oh, I don't need this card right now, is at least something. So yeah, I'm actually a little bit warmer on this than I thought, but
Yeah, I mean,
That's not true.
Scry One's not awful. It's still pretty good. It's not
Yeah.
amazing. You'd rather have draw a card, but Scry One's all right.
like
Agreed.
I think LSV said it best is that like Scry 1 is worth drawing half a card. So shield count and half a card for 1 mana, I can see that in like some decks.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, you guys mentioned that you wanted to talk some bit about the shield counters.
yeah.
Like,
I
I
love
was
and
thinking,
hate them.
it's a cool concept. I was thinking of, like, if there's I'm trying to think of a commander that like kamikazes that like blows itself up and other things, and it's just like, if you have a shield counter on it, you could like get around that type of effect. Like, let's see, World Slayer, is that a exiles or
Destroy.
Destroy, yeah, that would
Destroys
work
all
for
the
this.
permanents.
Yeah. So World Slayer with something that could distribute shield counters around your table is actually pretty interesting, because then, if you distribute the shield counters and then World Slayer goes off and that's your protection. The thing is, there's just other ways to protect against World Slayer that you'd have to be running also. I mean, that are better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this
Better
is only
because
gonna
they're
save one
more than-
creature.
That's the thing, because the problem is with World Slayer equipped, you save that creature, then you have that same problem next, because you can't even unequip it then.
Yeah.
So
This is true.
So a bit weird because the card has indestructible when you care about it, but I could see slotting in something with shield counters into something like Zergo, the 3-color one, because he ends up so vulnerable not on your turn. But
Yeah.
even then, it's like not even this. There's a card later on that's probably better for doing that. But it's like at least like if you need to make a push to kill someone quick, but you know that you're leaving your shields completely down, pun not intended, you can at least say, well, I'll give him a shield counter at some point, and at least buy me a chance of if something happens.
Stop lying. You and that pun, and it was amazing.
I realized the pun as I was saying it, and I'm like, I'm already going down this slide. Just keep going.
Nah, next time just own it. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have anything else to say about Boon of Safety before we move on here? Think we're good?
Yeah, I think.
All right. So how about Broker's Initiate?
Cheaper than toilet paper.
Thank you. I think we can move on from there. Buy Your Silence, same thing.
You know, it's a citizen, so Angelic Observer, you know. Look at that.
Well, and it's a cat too.
It is a cat, and it's
Yes.
got a big butt. You know, 4
Yeah.
toughness for 1 mana is kind of a big deal.
Arcadius. If only it was a defender. Though.
Yeah, but there's cards that care about having like big toughness. Like what's the tree? The tree commander.
Yeah,
cares about
yeah.
that.
Doran.
The problem with Doran though is that Doran is not blue. Doran is black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
And
'cause
the
you're
fact
3
that
colors.
Broker's Initiate is 3 colors technically is.
Yeah.
Yeah, limits anywhere where it would probably be good.
Yeah, exactly. If it was just white, it might not be bad. It's banned. It's awful.
You're right.
So how about Buy Your Silence? Also toilet paper?
Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
5
Commander,
mana
absolute toilet
sorcery
paper.
speed. Sorcery speed, and you're still giving your opponent something for 5 mana. This card's hot garbage.
Yeah.
Unless you need it for budget reasons. Yeah.
Even
there's
for
so many
budget
better
reasons,
options.
like there's better cards that would be just as cheap.
Beast Within or Generous Gift, or even for
Well, disenchant really. Something.
Yeah,
well, this is non-land permanent. Non-land permanent is pretty huge. It hits almost anything, but
Well, yeah.
I
but
could,
thinking
I could probably
cost wise,
think I could think of a million cards that would hit that better. I'd rather run what's that 3-drop? You like sacrifice a creature or an artifact or something like that, and you can like exile the fucking permanent. I forget
yeah,
what
I
it's called.
I can't think of what it's called. But I know exactly what you're talking.
So
I mean, at that point, like cast out would be better. Even though it's only exile target, not only opponent controls. Until then, you can still cycle it.
I think the only thing this card has going for it is the flavor text.
Yeah.
Celebrity Fencer, anyone?
This type of effect's not bad. That's just she costs 4 mana.
Yeah, and she's a 3/2 when she comes in. Not. I don't think it's good.
It's not that it's terrible. It's just it's not good.
It's just not good in our format.
Well, like I could maybe see if you had a deck that was putting a lot of creatures onto the battlefield very quickly, like Agathor's tokens deck, where you could sometimes do that. But like, I see it more like I definitely don't see it in mono white. Like it's definitely like a green white. Like in a Reese deck that could get pretty nasty pretty fast.
Yeah,
not
Reese
gonna lie.
redeemed.
But even then, she's like, yeah, she gets big, but she doesn't have any keywords on her. Like for
That
4 mana,
that
I
is
think
an issue. You're
Yeah.
100% correct. No keywords is a problem.
they could have slapped lifelink on her, and she would have been a lot better.
Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, anything.
I'd take vigilance. I would take vigilance.
I would take vigilance absolutely. That would be fine.
Fucking
She's got
Deal?
she's got
give her
elf druid.
flanking.
Okay, maybe not flanking.
You
All
know
right,
what's
yeah,
cool
okay.
with stuff like this?
Okay,
It's
right,
like
banding.
Godzilla stuff.
Oh god, no,
I'm
no
surprised.
banding, no banding, no banding.
I'm surprised.
Banding's-
She's a fencer. Seems like she would have wanted like first strike or something.
Yeah, probably first strike. First strike would make it ridiculous though.
She is an elf and a druid. I guess two popular keywords that two popular creature types.
Well,
That-
elves are pretty popular. I don't know about druids.
But druids are only like the cards that care about druids are only green. Well, there's probably a non-green or
I have a
non-green
druids
druid
deck. I have a druids deck. No, there's not very many white druids.
Okay.
Again, it's not that it's a bad effect. It's just that like there's so many other cards that can do this type of ability that it's just like for her mana cost, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, no doubt.
So moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Citizens Crowbar.
I love the idea of beating someone with a crowbar and magic.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really like the card a lot.
It certainly does amuse me a lot as well.
It's really not a terrible card, I think. Yeah,
It's
No,
two
it's
mana.
it's technically a citizen.
Yeah.
It does make it is one of the 21 cards in the set that make in the set or the including the commander cards that makes a citizen token.
my only issue with it is having to tap the creature because, like, I would run it in my rarity deck because it does care about equipment, except for the fact that you have to tap the creature. If it didn't have that clause, it'd be pretty.
If it made you tap the crowbar, or even or
It makes you
even
sacrifice the
unattached.
crowbar.
No, but I know, but like white tap the crowbar, sack the crowbar, which doesn't really matter most times. You never know. Actually,
Other
no.
than tapping
If it
the
was
creature.
if it was white unattached sack, that would probably be like better.
I want you all to think about this for a second before you keep talking about this whole destroy target artifact or enchantment shit. Okay, that's 3 and double white to do it. Yes, you can spread it out across turns, but that requires everything to be going right across those turns.
Yeah,
Well,
but
right. It's actually 1 and double white because it comes attached.
you're also it's also
Well,
no body.
it does come in attached to the citizen, but then you still have to wait a turn.
True. Well, no. What I was saying was making it so that you don't have to tap the citizen to use your crowbar.
Understood.
I'd be
Yeah,
okay with it except for having to tap it, even with the cost, because there's stuff like Kemba that would care about having the equipment attached to it, except for the fact that you have to tap it.
I wish
My
you could
only
just
issue.
sacrifice the token, the creature.
Right? And not have to tap it. Like, even
What,
if
yeah.
it just
yeet the
costs like
citizen
one
through
more
the
white.
window?
I think that would make it like really strong, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like yo, somebody picked up the crowbar and threw it through a window. Fine.
With the person holding it.
Yeah.
I think I think it's not a bad card because it's an equipment. This is relevant. Maybe something like SRAM. No, SRAM, it's a green and white.
No, it's just white.
Trump could run it.
No, the token's green and white, but it's still just mono white.
Yeah. SRAM
So-
might not be bad with it, actually, because then you
Okay.
could just leave it
So-
attached to it, because SRAM doesn't care about having equipment attached to himself.
You get the draw off of it. You get a body off of it for 2 mana, and it's artifact enchantment hate that you could save for later.
Actually,
It's decent, Gives a creature a +1/+1.
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
budget-focused SWAM players probably would like this because it is at a point removal. It's 2 mana draw card in white with him out, which sure, that's fine. There's like cheaper artifacts that you can do that with, but whatever. But still, and it gets you at least a body to, like, if you get hit with a sack effect, I'll sack the citizen because I don't really care about that. I care more about
But yeah, the body is.
I think it's important, especially for Voltron decks, because a lot of people don't run enough stuff to deal with Grave Pact, things like that. And I know that from running Dictate and Grave Pact a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when any deck I play that runs Grave Pack type effects, I love to see the Voltron player. I'm like, yes, thank you, because you're never gonna have a creature on the table
Monsters.
for all your Voltron shit.
That's the problem. Yeah, they don't run enough stuff to be able to protect it. That stuff usually they don't run enough stuff to protect against those effects.
All right, I
Isn't
would suggest we move quicker through these cards because we're gonna be here for till
Yeah.
tomorrow morning.
Works for me. I don't feel like going
Yeah,
to work.
we're only 40 minutes in. We've only seen like 8 cards.
Yeah, right. So
Okay.
Dapper Shieldmate,
It's
I
about
think.
5 minutes a card.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Dapper
Hey, look.
Shieldmate, I think we could pass on that, right?
Shield counter, neat. Moving on.
Yes, shield counter neat. Moving on. This card I wanted to talk about is Depopulate.
It's great. Before you say anything else, I think it's really good.
That's good.
I never like board wipes that make people draw cards to help them recover.
Thank
Personally.
you.
There are enough board wipes in the game that why should I let someone else draw if I want to blow up all their stuff?
Yes, and that is very important point there. The fact that there are so many other board wipes in white that don't let your opponents draw a card. Nah, like I'm okay with me not drawing a card if it means nobody else is drawing a card either. We're cool.
There's some-
All the creatures are gone. It is the only thing this has going for it is that it's 4 mana, and a lot of the rats they've printed recently are 5 mana. But yo, Wrath of God is not an expensive card dollar wise. Day of Judgment is not an expensive card dollar wise. nobody draws a card off of them, instantly
Well,
better.
Agreed.
The other thing to note is it's only one card no matter how many multicolored creatures that player has. So if you have 10, you draw one card. If you have one, you draw one card.
Oh yes, I'm
And-
well aware of that.
And if
I don't know. I think it's got potential. You know, like usually one of the things that a lot of people don't like about board wipes is that technically you're losing card advantage when you play a board wipe. So this replaces itself. You know, the fact that you can draw a card, that each opponent can draw a card off of it too, might matter. If you're playing white, you have a smothering type out. It's just like, cool. All right, you're drawing that card. You paying 2 for that, fucker?
I don't want my opponents to draw anything off of my stuff if I could avoid it.
Yeah,
Because card
exactly.
advantage is what straight up wins you the game under 100%.
I think this is Inko, I think that's going to lead to a card later that I'm not going to skip ahead, but that's going to be interesting, I think.
All right, well,
But-
let us skip ahead here. I think,
Yeah,
unless anybody's got something major to say.
I'm good.
We're good. Okay. So how about Elspeth Resplendent? I got to get it on my screen. 1 second. Almost had it right there. Perfect. Okay. Elspeth Resplendent. Woo. Well, my opinion is if you're playing Voltron, you're playing Elspeth Resplendent. Otherwise, I don't know.
She's 5 mana, though, in Voltron.
I don't know. Atraxa might not hate her, dude. What, you +1 and then she's ready to ult at the end of the turn?
Shield counter.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with Planeswalkers is they have to be ridiculously strong to be worth running, considering they're probably going to die within 1 turn cycle most of the time.
I mean the neg 3, digging 7 deep, putting a permanent into play. That's...
Yeah, but it's mana value 3 or less.
Yeah. It's interesting because you put the shield counter on any permanent, on the permanent that you put on. It's not just creature.
That is interesting.
That is kind of spicy.
Oh, you
yeah,
could put
neg
lands
7.
in, so you could ramp with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's an expensive ramp.
Yeah.
Again, you know, I don't know. I feel like Atraxa wouldn't hate this. You know. Oh, I give Atraxa first strike. Now she's flying first strike, vigilance, lifelink, death touch.
Well, if you're playing the Planeswalker version of Atraxa, yes. If you're like me and playing the +1/+1 counter version of Atraxa, I'm a little less in favor of it. I only run like 2 or 3 Planeswalkers in the deck, and one of them is pretty much only there to give my creatures vigilance.
Well, even just rereading it, look, she puts a 1/1 counter and a counter from among flying first strike, lifelink, or vigilance.
Could be interesting if you have like nest and ground effects with a deck that proliferates a lot.
And
Yeah,
the
or
other point in Atraxa is that she starts at 5. If you +1 her, that's 6. When you proliferate, that's 7. Next turn, she can ultimate. If you that's just to point out.
Yeah, no.
As long as she lives, yeah.
Yeah, as long as she lives. But as
Yeah.
as somebody who has played a lot of Planeswalkers that he tries to rely on to win games, y'all always attack my fucking Planeswalkers. So
You damn right I do.
Look here,
Especially-
sir. I don't
especially
attack
if
your
you see I'm
Planeswalkers,
about
I
to
just
ultimate.
attack you. Yeah. I don't care about your Planeswalkers. I care about you.
yeah, no. Some people, if they see your
Oh, I care
Planeswalker's
about the
about to
Planeswalkers.
ultimate, they're like, no, your Planeswalker's not fucking ultimating. Forget that shit.
Yep. Fucking absolutely. Who in their right mind would be like, yeah, you know what? Let's see what happens.
I did that one. With Liliana from War of the Spark.
Yeah.
How bad a mistake was it?
I won, so it wasn't that bad.
Friggin', I remember a game I played with Red Nuts a while ago when he was playing his Pramicon deck, and he got off was it? God, who's the guy? It looks like David Tennant. The Planeswalker looks like David Tennant.
Venser.
What was it? Venser,
Venser.
yeah. He got off the Venser ult, and it was just like downhill from there.
Yeah, that Venser ult is pretty nice. That's
Pretty
why
good,
I played it. I mean, but her ult, the angel tokens are only 3/3s. They're not the usual 4/4 angel tokens that we normally see.
Oh, they are 3/3. That's odd.
And it's 5 of them.
So is this whole set 3/3 angels or 4/4 angels? I didn't even notice that across the whole set. You guys know?
They might do different ones because ever since they've printed tokens in the sets, they're willing to print like multiple tokens with the same general name with different powers and toughnesses.
But
Very
don't they
unusual,
usually
though,
do
to
that
your
with
point,
like
for Angels.
abilities? I'm looking
I
at.
think she does. I think she does a lot for 5 mana.
Yeah, no, I mean she's not bad for 5 mana. I can't see her in. There's not too many decks I think that would want to play her that aren't messing around with counters in some way.
Yeah, like really the only one that comes to my mind is like attract. I mean, if you had a doubling season, you immediately can alter or create 10 white 3/3 white angel tokens.
That could be relevant.
So I just looked it up for note. There are only 3/3 angels, and only because it's right next to it, these spirits are 2/2s.
Interesting.
Only because
okay.
that's just like weird to see. But, anyways, only 3/3 angels in the set as tokens.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. I mean, I couldn't picture running it like in Yoshimaru or something that cares about legendaries out there. It'd be interesting to see what it would be running.
When you think about it too, though, 5 mana, you can -3 her. You can automatically get something for value 3 or less. So like you can get 2 cards off of that 5 mana cost. I think that's relevant. If you have something like Strong Resonator, you can look at dig top 14.
Agreed.
Well, yeah. And the thing is, it's a permanent card, so you can even pull a land.
Yeah, you could. I mean, ideally you don't want to, but I mean,
Yeah.
If you are playing Armageddon, you might want to get a land and put a shield counter on it.
Yeah.
Can we go 5 minutes without you talking about land destruction, Red?
You fuckers kept bitching about white card draw and white ramp, or here you fucking go. Enjoy.
Yeah, right?
Who was bitching about it? Not me.
No. Wizards. Like saying that, like everyone, like, give white more card draw, give white more land ramp. Here you go. Deal with it.
All right, so how about Extraction Specialist? Let's move on to the next card.
I think it's a good card.
I
agree.
I think decks that are blinking stuff are going to love it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. It's mana value 2 or less. It's not going to get a lot of things.
3/2 human.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
I mean, it gets you back like ETBs. That's what you're really caring about.
Yeah.
Or like, if you're on green white, then you go, okay, cool. I'll sack my Sakura Tribe Elder, and this is just like worst case. Extraction Specialist, bring it back, pop it again, and I've gotten 2 lands off of it.
That's actually a pretty decent point because you could do this with it like MEL, right? MEL the Blessed, right?
And
you could run this.
Yeah, because as long as you control Extraction Specialist, not a coordinated Extraction Specialist. So if you blink the Specialist, now that mana value 2 card can attack or block.
Yes.
And it's a 3/2 lifelink. Which,
yeah, well, that's why I suggested blink decks for it.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of take advantage of that with the can attack or block thing.
Yeah.
And maybe even certain reanimator style lists. I wonder if it's 3-drop, so probably not the black white companion. What's his name?
Luris.
Luris cares about 2 or less, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you would want that in Luris, but I don't know. Maybe certain reanimator decks might care about this.
I see its home in like one of those like decks that care about creatures with ETBs, just like ETB value decks. Well, even if you're not hitting like any Elvish Visionary effect is like it comes in, you draw a card, actually Aristocrats even. You sack off like more Spirited Companion, Extraction Specialist, bring it back, draw a card, sack it off again for value. Maybe not the best use of it, but still like.
Yeah, I mean, Doom like Traveler.
Cathar Commando to pop an artifact enchantment. Kami. I'm just looking up high standard.
Yeah, no, I mean, because there are actually a lot of cards that are pretty nice to return to the battlefield when you're playing an aristocrat style deck, because it's not just it's not just the ETB guys, but guys like Doom Traveler, for example, that when they die, they leave something behind. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like creatures like that could also be good with it, but you really have to be focused a lot on that combination of blinking and sacrificing.
Yeah.
Like white black aristocrats, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking, God, I forgot what this guy's name is. Ghost Chief did. No, what's his name? He's a
Theodore.
3-drop. Theodore might care about something like this, you know, like 3-drop, like
Yeah.
like he said earlier, you know, you could sacrifice to a creature that you got earlier, get that death trigger, you know, sacrifice this, and then bring it back, and I don't know. There's definitely some cute stuff you could do with this card.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. I mean, because it isn't just blinking. There is a fair amount of recursion. So yeah, like Harador could be something good that something that would play it. Right on. All right. Moving on ahead. Gathering Throng.
I mean,
Let's move on.
yeah, it's card advantage, I guess.
Yeah, cool. 3-1 for 3. Giada, Font of Hope.
Yeah, Giada, Font of Hope. Now,
I mean,
Giada, not for nothing. It's funny. I've been thinking about taking my Aurelia deck and not making it an Angels deck and making it more of a value deck because I want to play Giada with an Angel deck. And I don't want to have two Angel decks, one white and one red-white. I'd rather just have mono-white Angels, which is what I wanted in the first place. And then they fucking banned Iona, so fuck them. And
I really think Iona should make a comeback. I really think she shouldn't be banned.
yeah, and then make my Aurelia deck more of like an extra combats value deck.
I personally love Giada.
Yeah, I do too. I think Giada's amazing, and I'll be more than happy to make her my commander as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm with you.
I finally have my mono white deck built.
Oh, can I go back to the Gathering Throng real quick? Just one quick thing. I just read its flavor text, and it's great. A +1 is simply not enough. You know, you fetch out 3 other copies of her in like standard or something like that. I think that's just cute. That's all I wanted to mention about Gathering Throng.
Okay, fair enough. You flavor text stuff. Okay, fine.
I am going to mention it is a what's the name of that? Why can't I name the bird? It's a goddamn crow that was part of like Stoneforge, Snapcaster, Squadron Hawk.
Yeah, Squadron Hawk.
You can just like keep looking for one, but
Squadron Hawk was really solid, but it
But
was
it's like
also a fire.
it's like
Yeah.
but I'm just looking at shuffle effects. But even then, it's like okay, cool.
It is a citizen, guys.
Oh God, stop it with the citizens.
It's amazing.
Meme of the stream says.
Yep, it is. Okay, so I think we agree that Giada's amazing, so we could move on. How about our alternate win condition card, Halo Fountain?
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah,
does
I think it's pretty fun.
I love it. Forget the alternate win con. That part doesn't even matter. I think a lot of people are going to go for that. But the real value, I think, is in the first two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Really friggin' good.
I'm more focused
what's
on
funny?
the draw.
When I took my notes, my one comment about this card was stifle effects look better every set.
Agreed. Same thing with like Torpor Orb type effect. Yeah, anything that involves creatures, because they seem to keep stapling a lot of things onto creatures.
I think Halo Fountain wants a card like Earthcraft so bad, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
because I
Oh,
was
yeah.
actually about to say that is people will see the untapped 15 tapped like you win the game, but it's like you have to have 15 tapped creatures, and if you have 15 tapped creatures to win the game, you probably in most cases are already winning the game.
Yeah, agreed.
But I still want to see someone pull that off regardless.
although
yes, yes.
all I could say is like a green-white tokens deck that just decides to run Glare Subdual and Halo Fountain.
Beautiful.
Squirrel Nest Earthcraft.
I know someone who actually made a Bant deck that's like that, Red. It's really sweet.
That's interesting. I was actually thinking of doing something like that with Glare Subdual, because I remember that card and I realized it's like, oh, so much fun could be had with that card.
Oh
So-
yeah, it's beautiful.
One thing I've never brought up is that I've have a cube built where everyone has an emblem that's basically you can't lose for having 0 less life, and it's all focused around alternate win cons. So it's going in there. It's 100% going in there.
Nice.
I like that a lot. I would love to play that.
That sounds fun. Yes.
Oh, yeah. You can still win with combat because you still die to poison.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like Finn the Fangbreaker and other stuff. But
Gotcha.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good. This card's great. There's a reason why it's the mythic, right? It does everything you want. It makes you creatures. It draws you cards, and it helps you win the game. What's not to love?
Exactly.
Well, I'm gonna say it, Kanto.
Huh?
It's a Kit Kanto.
Yeah, we'll get to her. We'll get to her. We got
No,
a
no, I'm
long, we
saying
got a
Halo
long way to
Foundation
go. So,
Kanto's beautiful.
oh yeah. So how about Hold for Ransom?
This card's hilarious.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny. I can't see it actually being played anywhere, but it's pretty funny.
the only way you get me to play this card is to hold someone I care about for ransom.
Good one.
You know, I mean, this is kind of cute, right? Because you put this on the Voltron player, and you put this on the Voltron player, and they're just like, fuck, like, right? Like, you got to pay 7 mana for that ability. I think it's.
But
I think
then
it's
they
hilarious.
get to draw a card.
Yeah, but they're paying 7 mana,
I know.
sacrificing the card, like, and it's sorcery speed too, so it's just like, it's hilarious. That's not going to fit in everywhere, but I don't know, two mana pacifism effect. It's not terrible, right?
Yeah.
Not
I'm
a
gonna run something like that in Light Pause, so just for the fun of it.
It's hilarious. You know, I mean, the creature can use its abilities, but 2 mana to not attack or block. You know, you put this on an important card, and it's just like, like.
Also, funnily shuts down Morgana petroglyphs because it gives the creature the ability.
Wow for that abstract callback. Anybody got anything about Illuminated Virtuoso?
Just
should-
connives that I think it's amazing ability that people are really overlooking.
It could
Oh boy. Anyways.
It's amazing.
I-
Knife is really good.
That Show Yun deck, I run very few other creatures. I would consider running it in that one, only because I'm already running the pump spells. Yes, it's a 1/1, but it already has double strike, and even like a 2/2 double strike that I've given like protection to is okay enough in that deck. But because of the pump spells, like a 6/6 double strike that I've only sunk, like it's got me filtering. Sure, that's worth at least a try on. I'd enjoy it in there. And it's uncommon, so it'd be cheap.
100%. Just the fact
Yeah.
that it has double strike for 2 mana
Yeah.
is already good. It's human.
I think it's big, yeah.
It can put counters on itself, which is also really strong too.
It's also a rogue, which there's cards that care about rogues, and having double strike already
Like-
makes those cards usually better.
White rogues, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if like we ever get more party stuff, that might
Well,
be.
rogues. I think
Oh, that's true.
I think of it as like an Esper. So
Yeah, that's why I was thinking Jesper would like a card like this.
but
You know, depending on the deck and the build, but something like Shu Yun, something where you're targeting Feather is another place where you could
oh yeah,
you could possibly do something with it. So there's that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good card.
Yeah, yeah, for
only
sure.
Only a rare too. Not bad.
No, it's uncommon.
No, that's what I meant. Uncommon. Sorry, used to Yu-Gi-Oh terms. Yeah,
Oh, geez.
it's good. Human, important. Human puts counters on stuff. Double strike. What's not to love?
Yep, sure.
True.
All right, Inspiring Overseer,
3 mana angel. That's
trash, absolute
3 mana?
trash. Not worth anything for Commander, in my opinion.
you know, angel, cleric. Those are
Very, very niche thing. It has uses for very, very, very.
Yeah, I mean, anything that you could theoretically put it in, there are better cards to put in instead of that.
I mean, if you're running
Yeah.
pure angel tribal, then it's a 3-drop angel. But I think we've gotten more cheaper angels as of late, so even then,
I mean, I think it's just different because, like, my deck, Birthing Pod for 3 makes a difference. So I have Generous Stray in my deck. Something like this is obviously better.
Mm.
It's a very, very niche case. very.
Yeah.
Two
niche.
mana is the usual thing for that type of ability to draw a card, replace itself. It's a flower, which is relevant. It's again, angel's a good keyword to. Angel's a good creature type to have on a card. I think this card's not bad. Is it amazing? It's also a common. Hey Popper. I don't know. No, Popper wouldn't even play this.
No.
Uh,
No,
It's not a bad card.
Yeah, no, I've moved on. Okay, so kill shot I believe we've seen before, so I think we could skip over that.
Yeah.
And so knockout blow.
Like I'd rather have kill shot than knockout blow.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like knockout blow is one of those cards that we have no reason to talk about whatsoever because it's not a card that you would really play in a commander deck ever. There's so many better things to play.
Agreed.
You know, Mage's Attendant.
I like this card a lot. I want more cards. Oh no, actually,
I
never mind.
love it. I love it.
forgot. I ended up not liking it because for the wizards you have to pay the 1 mana, then sacrifice the wizard that you created to counter target non-creature spell. That made me like it a lot less.
I just like that it's a flickerable mana tithe. Is a joke.
Yeah.
The artwork's atrocious, but no
you
thanks.
think like it's like 4 mana to get to be able to counter something, right? Like it's spread out, but like it's cool though. It's a cat.
Exactly. I was just saying my cat tribal deck needs that.
You get 2 creatures for 3 mana. You get like about 4. You get about 4 power. It's decent.
Yeah, I mean it's not awful, but it's awkward.
Not great. It's not awful, but it's not great.
Yeah, and it doesn't counter creature spells. That's significant as well.
I mean, giving white a way to counter spells is pretty interesting. You get that. That 1/1 lays around for long enough, nobody pays attention to it, and you counter that Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah. Yeah,
That'd be
good
pretty
luck with that though. The Cyclonic Rift player is probably already looking at that token like, yeah, I'm gonna need to have a mana because that's gonna get busted. Remember, if you're playing Cyclonic Rift, you're already probably in. Well, I shouldn't say you're probably, but there's a good chance you're pretty smart about it, and you're going to make sure you don't get countered. That's a really bad mistake to get your overloaded Cyclonic Rift countered.
Although that would be pretty funny though.
Nobody ever expects the counter from the white deck, though.
Yes, but when you're telegraphing it by putting a blue wizard token on the table, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, if you do have the token, I guess the blues is probably going to attract people's attention. I don't know. It's a cool ability.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not trying to totally shit on the card, but I'm also trying to get us to admit that it's just okay and move on to the next card.
I would like
Yeah,
to
it's
see
just
more
okay. That's all.
Next
Agreed.
up is Mysterious Limousine.
I just have a problem with limousines in Magic. That's
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this. I think it's just too much cost, too much mana cost, too much with needing a creature to crew. Exiling the other creature is cute, but you're going to get to exile one creature at a time.
Yeah, it feels too slow, and even then, like the one nice thing I will say is that crew 2 is where I feel the sort of limit on this type of stuff is for crewing. Like when you get to crew 3, it's like, but yeah,
I'll agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm not the hugest fan of this card. I guess it's a way to maybe if you have a white deck that cares about blinking, maybe for like Boros Blink, which is the thing, maybe
You got to be desperate for Blinkins.
I mean, you're in Boros, so
yeah, if you're in Boros, you are desperate for Blinkin. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess certain ways, this no, I don't like it that much.
All right, now. Here's a card that I'm ready to talk about, and that's Patch Up.
A+.
Yeah, this card's ridiculously good. Like, the fact that it's up to 3 target creatures with total mana value 3 or less, like, that's incredible.
Well, just to be clear, you can return 1 3-mana value creature or 3 1-mana value creature, anything
Yep.
in between.
Absolutely, and that's why it's amazing.
Yes.
That's what I like about it too. Agreed. 3 Soul Sisters, whatever.
And it's just like the flexibility of just like mixing and matching the mana values. Like, you can return a 3 cost, and then if you're playing like Memnite Ornithopter, you still get 3 creatures back.
Oh God, yes, you get Memnite Ornithopter and a 3-mana creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans you could do with this card that are just like all of those things were running through my head. Like, all I wrote, it has to be good somewhere, and I wrote that because I was like, this card's ridiculous. There has to be a spot for this. There has to
Like
be
what?
like decks that would run this because
What deck would you slot it in, though? Like, it's not a bad ability, but like, what deck would you see?
A lot of mono white deck. Aristocrat.
yeah, any weenies based deck would definitely want it because you're gonna lose your weenies at some point. You got to bring them back. Hate bears. You can get back like a Soul Sisters and another creature with it.
I don't know, like, would you run this over like Savine's Reclamation?
No.
No, but they're different though.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not. They're not the same card.
I actually still think Savine's Reclamation is probably the best card with that type of effect, but mostly because the flashback on it, allowing a double dip and all that jazz. But no, this is a card where even if I don't have a home for it right now, it's gonna be like in my stack of cards that I will use, just because the option of I'm building a deck. It kind of wants this effect. I can't think of anything else I want to put in. It goes in until either. It's a card that I'll play. Like, I will find a way to play this.
Yeah, there's definitely some place where this card is going to show up and make a big production. You know, it's just a matter of where. There's a lot of different places I could see it popping up and being value.
Yeah, I just can't think of anything off the top of my head where like I'm like this deck needs this card, you know?
Actually, like Hate Bears even, because usually they are 2 mana, and
What,
you can
I said
have.
before.
Yeah.
Yep. I like
Yeah.
it in like a deck like Arcadia.
What?
Arcades.
Arcadies.
Arcadie's also good because not for nothing, you can get back Indomitable Ancients with this.
Aren't they a 4 mana?
I think it's 3. Is it 3 or
I thought
4?
it was 2. I thought it was 2 white.
Is it 2 white? It's been a long time since I've seen the card.
Is it?
I'm looking on you.
I thought it was 2 white. Maybe you might be right. It's 2 double white. If it's 2 double white, then I'm wrong.
2 double white.
It's 2 and double white. Okay.
Okay, but like let's say
there's still a lot of good high toughness cards that are 3 mana or less.
Yeah.
Like, I see this card and I'm like, I want to do something with it in Archaeomancer, but
Yeah, right. Yeah. With Archaeomancer, this could be fun as well. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's like a lot of options.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a very strong card. How about Rabble Rousing?
oh, this card's amazing.
it creates citizens.
Yeah.
It does make citizens, but
Hey,
this is
I mean,
this is a card I see Agathor putting in his Gira deck. Like, it has to be there.
yeah, any deck you go wide, I think you would want this.
And even then, you don't have to attack with the 10 creatures. You just have to have 10 or more creatures when the ability resolves. So
Yeah,
Well, you
but
need
that's
to attack.
hard though.
You need to attack it with at least 1 creature. you
Yeah.
just need to have.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the more creatures you have and the more creatures you're attacking with, the more citizen tokens you're creating.
Yeah.
And then most likely you're popping it, like pretty much I see like most token decks popping this the turn they play it.
Oh, 100%. That's why I think it's I think it's the best of these hideaway cards. Like
I,
there's,
I
I think a few of them are really good, but I think this one's just like you're gonna get that card off, and you're in white, so you want that free cast. I think can go a long way.
I
Yeah,
agree with both of you that it really is the best, and you cast it the same, and you cast it the turn you plan on casting too.
yeah.
It, I actually saw the latest Game Nights video, and like a person got this, and then they got to get it off, and the card that they had hidden away with it was Parallel Lives. So things got pretty pretty interesting.
Oh,
Oh God, yeah. That would get pretty nasty pretty fast.
Yeah, this card's
I have to sit out of this.
So yeah, rabble rousing is really pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Tokens love it. Rafine's guidance.
Need some guidance not to be so crap.
I'll say
I don't
that
like it.
I don't like it other than the fact that you can cast it from your graveyard, but I don't think that's strong enough to make it worth even talking about beyond that.
It's +1/+1. It is a +1/+1 for like that you can cast from your graveyard, but for 3 mana, and it's just like
Yeah, it's not good.
no.
maybe again like a SRAM, like just draw through your whole type of deck kind of thing. You know, with SRAM it could become a cantrip. It's just 1 mana, draws you a card, right? They run plenty of 0/1 drops with these types of abilities to get you through it, right? Because it's aura. I believe it's auras as well for SRAM.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vehicles, auras, and equipments.
Actually,
Yeah.
to your point, it could be very interesting in an enchanter deck as like a cheap way to draw a card if you can. You know, from your graveyard if you don't have something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
relevant. You know.
Yeah, it can't hurt. I mean, the fact that you can play it out of your graveyard does save it.
I just think that there's like other cheap stuff that I'd run over this. Even if I can pay 3 mana to get out of my yard, it's just like
Yeah,
being relying on that, like for that to be the deal changer in my mind. I'm already not in a good spot, and maybe one card can get me out of it. But if I'm in that deep of crap, then it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I think only a card like SRAM. Maybe if you have like Pierce to a Paladin's only equipment, so I wouldn't care
Yeah.
about this.
yeah. All right.
But-
Well, that could be interesting in
right.
something like Light Paws. Although I don't remember if it's casted from your hand or not.
So Rafine's informant.
Great,
I
actually,
I think we can move on. Nice artwork. We can move on from there.
Light Paws is cast, for note.
Yeah, no, but I don't remember if it's cast from your hand or not. No, right?
Well, it does trigger Light Paws when an aura enters the battlefield under your control if you cast it, not from your hand, just if you cast it.
Nice.
So Light Paws does seem fine in Light Paws, or good in
And-
Light Paws.
Rafine's informant, just like Professor of Symbology. I love them both.
I think this card's really good. I would want this in Brago, just another 2-drop like draws. Yes, it's not technically card advantage, card selection, but
It's
like,
card filtering, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like I want as many of those types of abilities in Brago as I can. Let me dig through as much of my deck as I can, you know. And then look, you got synergy with patch up. You know, you can connive, get rid of the card, get rid of a creature, get it back later on with patch up, right?
I think that it is good in Brago, but I think there's a card coming up that is much better.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like Brago,
Yeah.
like I feel like I want a lot of these small, like really
Yeah.
small creatures that help me dig through the deck. Like sometimes, I swear, sometimes the card like I care about the most is the 2-drop defender that when it enters the battlefield draws you a card.
Wall of
It's
Omens.
like low key.
I like that one
Wall
too.
of Omens. Yeah, Wall of Omens is like one of the best cards in my deck because it's just like the amount
Yeah.
of value we could accrue over time. It's just like so good. So
Mhm.
same thing with this kind of card, you know. Connive is really good too because it's just like Connive is sneaky good because it's like you kind of ignore it. It's just like it doesn't seem like it does a lot, but that 1/1 counter, you know, the card can build up on those. This one can't because it's only obviously the one type of ability. But talking about Connive in other things, you know, it's the type of thing that can sneak up and get
Yeah.
a lot stronger faster. You know, maybe cards that care about a bunch of small creatures having counters on them might care about this, like Hamza or something like that. I don't know. That's a good card. Also, White Wizard. We don't have a lot of those.
I guess not. Moving on. Refuse to yield. I refuse to play this.
I will yield the floor to anyone that thinks that this is playable.
Yeah, that's not really that good. I mean, plus
Yeah.
7, untapping a creature.
Okay, so I can. There is one niche scenario where there's a ton of better cards, but if you play in there, okay, like the green-white Savala, just to untap her. But
Uh,
she makes only green, and there's a lot better stuff you can be doing, and no, but
yeah, she
I
does
mean,
offer
if that's how you know, it's true for anything that you could untap. If untapping really makes a difference.
yeah. Well, with
Yeah.
her, you want to be snowballing the untaps and just going through, but she also draws your opponent's cards, technically, so. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the parlay one.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you mentioned the pluses like mattering, I had thought about the mono green Savala. It was just
Oh,
like,
that's
Yeah.
actually.
I was just like, yeah, in that case, actually, then it can be kind of good because you're untapping her. She gets the
But
bonus, so she can
two
generate more mana herself.
2 mana for +2 on that mono green is the next card I'd rather play in that one,
Yeah,
only
I think
because it is.
I'm sure that plus 7 will be relevant somewhere. Plus 7 and untapping it might be relevant in some deck. I just can't think of the one right now, but I'm sure there's some deck that could use this.
Well, the next card is one that will be probably seeing its way into my Atraxa deck, Revelation of Power.
It
I
also
like that
has
card.
it also has your future commander on it, right?
Yes, it does.
Oh, it does really?
Yeah, Giada's
That's
on the card.
Giada.
Yeah, apparently in the
Oh, I
storyline, like
didn't even pick
Giada
up on
doesn't
that.
know she's an angel, and like she eventually becomes an angel, like at some
She's
point in the story. So
She's also like the source of Halo, or one of the sources of Halo.
yeah,
We saw that on a previous flavor text.
Oh, I see it now. Okay. I actually really like the artwork now that I see that a lot. I like the artwork a
Actually,
lot.
it was on Giada. The source of Cabretti's Halo turned out to be a single teenage girl.
yeah, Go
Yeah,
Magic storyline.
I just
Yeah,
like the shadow, the image of it with the shadow. That's cool.
Yes, that's very nice. Well done.
Oh my God! Wait. Going back to refuse to yield. That flavor text. Her opponent through the window, so she retaliated by throwing the window through her opponent. That's so badass.
That is pretty badass. Not gonna lie.
Would that be considered fenestration? Because I know defenestrate is to throw someone through a window. Is throwing a window back at someone fenestrating them?
Refenestrating them.
Refenestration. There we go.
All right, let's move on here. Rumor Gatherer.
Ooh, good card. It's not amazing, but it's a good card.
Yeah.
Eh.
If it costs 2 mana, I'd be more down. Like a 2 mana 1/1, fine. 3 mana
Okay.
2/1.
Yeah,
I
less good on it.
I hate
Adelon, it looks cool.
I hate the fact that it's like you have to jump through some hoops to get the card draw. But like I'm thinking like what are the black white partners? It's like an angel and a demon.
Yeah,
Oh.
Regna and Krav.
Regna and Krav, I think.
Yeah.
Like something like that might want it something where you're making tokens on your opponent's turns as well. So you're getting that draw. So if you're playing a sort of deck like that, then it's a pretty decent card. But it doesn't slot into just any like deck, right?
True. Although
You have to
Adelon
be making a creature every turn.
You have to make
Adelon
two
is the one that
creatures every
stands out
turn.
to me, for sure.
You have to make 2 creatures every turn to get that draw. Otherwise, you're just scrying, and it's just like a 3 mana scryer, not good. 3
Yeah.
mana if it draws a card is good.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to be making at least a creature a turn for it to be worth it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not making a creature a turn, there's no reason to play it.
Yeah, so like those 2 partners I talked about were probably a deck that would run this in. I know there was a lot of hype for this card, but I don't think it's as good.
Mm.
Like people, I think automatically see like white card draw, and they're like, "Yes, finally!" But like, I don't know. When you have to jump through hoops for something.
Yeah,
it feels
they're
a lot.
making white jump through a lot of hoops to draw cards, and it's rather annoying because they haven't realized that you just have to let it draw cards.
Agreed.
Just let it do what every other color fucking can do now.
Sure, they've ignored the color pile long enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Red's even basically getting card draw now.
with the exile until end of next turn.
The impulse draw, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like even if they gave us more Mentor the Meek-style stuff, even that's not like perfect, but it's cheap enough. Yes, you have to pay one to draw the card, but still, it's at least something better than, oh, you have to gain 80 bajillion life and you can draw half a card.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we'll let you draw a card, but you got to make 2 creatures in the turn. What?
Right.
Come on.
Meanwhile, Green's just like, I think of a creature card and I'll draw 3.
Yeah,
like-
right.
Savala, hey, just play a big creature, you draw a card.
Look
Mentor
at
the Meek,
how many.
play a
look,
small creature, pay one, draw a card.
I could draw like 3 cards every time I play a druid in my druid's deck.
Yeah.
You
Sure.
know, and without even like really trying all that hard. You know, it's like this is like it's crap. It's crap. You know, Wizard still needs to get better with that. What about Sanctuary Warden?
I like it.
I think it's good.
Interesting. I like it.
Card draw. It's white card draw.
Like you can immediately trade in one of her shield counters for 1/1 citizen and a card.
Yes.
That would be fine. But when she attacks, you can remove a counter from a creature, not just her, any creature or a planeswalker. Which
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
It's
fact that it draws you the card is more important than getting the citizen token, I think, in most
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah.
It's 2 shield counters, so she's actually kind of hard to interact with and kill sometimes.
yeah, like if you foresee that, you don't have to remove the second one. But Red, I think you're underselling the citizen creature when it makes Angelic Observer cheaper.
Well, yes, but I mean, Sanctuary Warden does cost 6 on her own, so there is that.
I know, but she makes Angelic Observer not cost 6.
Yes. Yes, that is true. I'm just saying. I think the drawing a card is the much more valuable portion of that ability.
Well, I mean, she's
Yeah.
also a flying 5/5. She's for 6 mana, she kind of does a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
2 shield count.
it's definitely going to my Angels deck.
Oh yeah,
2
and
shield
a
counters,
soldier,
that's
which
really-
maybe that matters.
It
have-
might matter for soldier
make
decks.
Make it a body absolutely matters. You know, like a card again, a deck where they might like this Hamza, right? Because Hamza lowers the cost of the cards based on the number of counters you have. So you can end up paying 2 white for this card, and then you have card advantage and body maker. You know, like
Yep.
it's not bad.
Indeed, pretty solid.
Oh,
All right.
you know, coming back to it, that angel deck that you want to build, you know, like
Yeah, no, I
it's
said it.
it's putting counters on there. Yeah,
Yeah,
solid.
Skycrier.
So Inko's favorite card of the whole set
Why would that be my favorite?
because it draws the opponent a card.
You're right. Then it's definitely my favorite card for sure.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think we could skip right past it.
And Zen's because it's citizen. Anyways, moving on.
Yes.
It's not a card. It's not a
Speakeasy
completely
server.
garbage
Hey.
card.
Hey, Speakeasy Servers, another citizen.
Woo.
No, it's not funny when you do it, Red.
Oh well, thanks.
Anyway.
Well, shit.
I actually like the artwork on this.
Yeah, I
Quite a
think
bit.
the artwork's absolutely hilarious, but other than
It-
that, it's pretty trash.
Going retro, it's a cheaper Ancestors Chosen, I believe.
Yeah, because we really needed a cheaper Ancestors Chosen.
Hey, you don't know. Anyways, yeah, move on.
Swooping Protector.
It.
No.
I like the card for what it's like, what it does, but it just feels like a little bit like 4 mana is a little bit much just for save a creature.
I think design-wise, this card is really cool because like it does like the flavor, like the card text, like matches the artwork like perfectly. You can picture like, oh, I'm throwing this card to like like doing a bodyguard moment where it's just like, stopping a creature from taking a fatal thing by like blocking it. I think flavor-wise, it's really cool. It's not that good a card though.
I actually misread it. I thought it let you put a shield count on any creature you control.
Nope,
No,
it
ugh.
gets the shield counter. So you have to put the swooping protector in the line of fire and lose the shield counter. So
Yeah.
it's basically like we've seen this card many times before without the shield counter, without the regeneration or indestructibility or whatever. I don't think it's playable in Commander.
No.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
unless you abuse Ozolith or something silly.
you'd have to really be abusing something really strong in order
But-
to get advantage from it.
Agreed.
But you'd have to find a way for it to leave play with that shield counter on it.
I feel like 4 mana was way. It was way.
Yeah,
overcosted.
there's not a lot of ways to do that, like exiling and stuff like that, maybe. But
4
can
mana's way.
are we finally going to move past white? Yes, we are. All
Yes.
seeing
We're done with
arbiter.
white.
Oh, also Protector's Decision.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Okay. All seeing arbiter. What about
Love
this
it.
one?
draw 2, discard a card.
I love it. I
That's-
mean, I had the Temsi's deck at one point. This would have fit in perfect if I still had it. Discarding cards so easy in something like blue-black to save yourself.
Yeah. I was
Really like it a
going to
lot.
say like self discard strategies would love this.
and it doesn't care where you discard the card from. By that, like, it doesn't have to be from its effect.
Yeah.
It's just whenever you discard a card, and it's until your next turn. So it's still just not even like, oh, I have to have an instant speed way to do it on their turn. No, I can just preempt. Hey, your big creature isn't that big anymore, power wise.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right.
It's a pretty strong card.
I'm not that crazy about it, but it's not a bad card.
Let me rephrase what I said. It's a pretty strong card in the right deck. It's not a card that's going to be everywhere, but if you see that card, you know whoever is playing that card is going to abuse the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and that's fine. That's fine. That's acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, it does a lot. It does do a lot for 6 mana. It's flyer, it draws you cards, and it can weaken your opponent's creatures. That's cool. I mean, it weakens your opponent's creatures for a long time too, until your next turn. That's pretty fucking annoying.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. If it was just for this turn, it wouldn't be good. But until your next turn, it's an entire turn cycle. That creature can't do shit. What is it going to do? Imagine if there's a Blyseal on the table, and you manage to give it like -7, -0.
You'd need to have a pretty big graveyard for that. 'cause
Still,
X is
but still.
It's important, though. Important to consider.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, that means I would have used like that Tremor stack, the Sphinx with the alternate win con, for having a multitude of mana values in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could play around with stuff like that. I mean, they've printed enough cards with that now where you could probably do something fun with that. Have a nice, like, evenly stacked deck with all these different mana costs.
Yeah.
It could happen. How about Backstreet Bruiser? What do we got for that?
I know you must love this card. It's a Cephalid. We know how hyped you were for Cephalids back in the set.
Yeah, like I'm happy to see Cephalids back because we haven't seen them in a very long time. But yeah, not super impressed with this. I mean, this seems like the kind of card that would be a good value in like a 60 card format, where you can ensure that you're going to have 2 or more counters, and where the 3/3 for 2 mana is actually going to be worth it.
And
Yeah.
you have to jump through hoops for that too, though. So I don't even think it would be good at then.
I mean, it's just even though like the hoops aren't that bad, the problem is that you're not really getting much out of it. You're getting a 3/3 for 2.
Honestly, even if this card got unblockable, if I had 2 more cards with counters on them, I don't think it would be that great.
Yeah, and it's important that the counters have to be on the creatures, like they can't be on artifacts, for example, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that does limit it. It's just a very limited card and doesn't seem like it's worth it at all. So We probably move on to
Yeah.
Broker's Veteran.
Yeah.
Now, this I actually think is interesting because any place where you're sacking creatures, not bad.
That is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially
like
if you're
it.
bringing them back.
Again, also design-wise, I think it's a win. One last job before he retires.
Yes,
Flavor
yes,
text.
yes. Once again, the good flavor text. This set does have a lot of good flavor text.
Who's retiring?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's literally the flavor text. I didn't read the flavor text. Got it. Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
My bad. My bad.
You know what? This would be kind of annoying in a Muldrotha deck. Just like, right? You can kill this off. Give Muldrotha a shield counter. Make it so hard to interact with.
And then, oh look, Broker's Veteran's back. How about that?
Right?
Man, I've had like 5 of these same last jobs.
Yeah, right. It's a lot of last ones. Case the Joint. How we feeling about Case the Joint?
4 mana for that ability is. I think it's interesting that you can look at the top card of each player's library. I don't think a lot of cards do that, but 4 mana for that ability.
I mean, normally that would cost 4 mana. Actually, 2 cards at instant speed.
Yeah. And if you could somehow abuse the top of the library, it might actually be kind of interesting.
I mean,
Like a
there's
Tully
a
and other
lot of
stuff.
there's a lot of old cards that require you to like guess cards from the top of opponents' libraries and shit like that. So a card like Case to Joint can be rather interesting with cards like that, but that's a lot to ask for. You could certainly fuck one player over with it. I don't know how many other players you're going to get with it.
I don't know, because you have a Tali and other stuff too, so there are things depending on how the deck is built and what colors it's made up of. It might actually be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean it could happen, but it's a lot. It's a lot of work to go through.
I think the only thing is it only lets you look. You can't manipulate it. You only just know like what the top one card is, which does kind of help like with Atali, but it's
Dude, if it did what you're saying right now, I would definitely like this card a lot
Oh,
more.
yeah.
Just like, oh, you had a good card cut up? Yeah. Let me put that Consecrated Sphinx at the bottom of your library.
yeah.
Something
Yeah,
like that
please.
would have been great.
I mean, you can even I'm not saying do this, but you can even manipulate the table by like you want to play a Gone. You can say that they have something nasty when they don't. But that's
Yeah, I mean,
where things get a little bit like.
yeah. The problem is like it's not recurable. Like I would like it if there was a card that just lets you look at the top card of each player's library. That was like a 2 mana instant that you could shove on Isochron Scepter.
Oh God.
Like the only way I could see this card like being really used is maybe if you have a commander that can like maybe like storm kind of cards, right? Like where you're lowering the CMC of the card because it's it's 3 generic. So if you have a card that like the more cards you cast this turn, the cheaper cards cost, like a Mizzix, maybe a card like Mizzix. This can be basically become 1 mana, draw 2 cards, and look at the top card of opponent's libraries.
Yeah, I mean in a Mizzix deck, I mean that's. But once again, there are so many like great card draw spells that you can play. Like because for 2 mana you could get 4 cards.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How about Cut Your Losses?
I mean,
Nah.
this card.
Yeah, Mildex, and we move on to the next card.
Yeah.
Disdainful Strokes, a reprint. Echo Inspector.
Yeah.
What is Echo one?
ETBs, it connives.
Still like the connive stuff.
Connive is cool. Being a rogue is relevant. Like because there's rogues that care about. Hold on 1 second. There's rogues care sometimes about like getting through. It's a 2/3, so it's okay.
Yeah, I mean if you have like a rogue theme, it's really strong.
Like Anawan, right? Like if you're playing Anawan, maybe
That's true.
Maybe you might want this, and even then, there's probably cheaper rogues for the cost, but it has some sort of evasion. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, it at least has evasion. So, and like this is a card where I could see playing it in like Brago. for an ETB
Yeah.
with connives because it's a flyer, which actually does make a difference sometimes.
But I would rather run the wizard, which is a 2-drop.
Eh, I
2-drop
mean,
over a 4-drop.
the thing is like I'm already running Wall of Omens in Brago, and the fact that this is a flyer means that when Brago's not around, you actually have something going on, flying wise.
Yeah.
You know, whereas you don't with the 2 mana.
Maybe if it also connived when it attacked. I feel like this card's like super aggressively costed. Like, like
Yeah.
they it costs way too much. If it would have been 3, I would have been like saying more positive things about this.
Oh yeah,
4
no.
is
If it was
just like,
3, if it was 3, it'd be really good. It would probably have
For
to be
4
uncommon for 3 mana.
for 4 it should also like connive when it attacks. That's my opinion.
Yeah, probably. All right, I think this is our first commander that we're coming across. No, second. We had Giada, Errant Street Artist.
It's a weird card, but I like it.
Me too.
But it's weird.
Yeah, it's cool though.
Oh yeah.
It requires a lot of interesting setup. I like it a lot.
Yeah, you
The
definitely have to set it up a lot, but you know,
People,
one of the things that I noticed recently is that copy effects, like blue does get a fair amount of copy spell effects, but a lot of them are also in red.
yeah.
And,
People were talking.
and the fact
I
that
heard-
this is mono blue, I don't know.
People were talking about this as a card you probably want for what's that Ikoria commander? He's Timur. He's a Godzilla-looking fucker.
Oh god. Illuma.
No, he was in the
Yeah,
pre-con.
Gyruda.
No, he was the pre-con commander.
Oh, Calamax.
Calamax. Yeah, people were
Yeah.
talking about like for Calamax, this card.
Did you say
great.
Demir? What?
Tamir?
I thought you said
Tamir.
Demir.
Sorry, I said it weird, but it was Tamir.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, people were talking about for Calamax. This card's really solid. I would like to see like a solo. I would love to see what someone could do with this deck as like a commander. Like
You will
have
see
to
it
be-
soon.
Oh, are you building it?
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh,
I am
so-
actually really excited for that then.
A bit weird of a deck because it's not the most fun to play like over webcam or polishing paper, but Crack, the Thumbless and Sakashima may want Errant because it is cheap and you're copying off of Crack. You can
That's actually
maybe
a really good
get
point.
some chains that you would fail. You succeed because you copied.
That's actually a very good point.
Interesting.
That's definitely somewhere you would want to see that.
Mm.
And this card was, they were talking about it was like a CDH podcast I was watching, and they were talking about like this card. And it's got potential, It's very aggressively costed, like 1 mana. It does a lot. It's got flash. It's got haste. You can use
Yeah,
it up, turn it up.
it's certainly a very interesting card. Not gonna lie. Like I just think like it might be too many hoops to jump through, but maybe with certain commander combinations it won't be.
Yeah, like I'm picking it up because it's not going to be expensive, and I'll just mess around with it. Like
Yeah.
looking at prices right now, this version's 20 cents, and I can get the alternate one for like 23 cents. So it's like, sure, if it works out, then
Yeah, and if it doesn't work out, what'd you do? You
Two
do a
dimes.
quarter away on it? Whatever.
yeah.
Inko, I'm really excited to see what you could do with this.
Yeah,
I'll
so
definitely
am
will
I.
let you know for sure. I'm really looking forward to it. That's one of the 2 I want to build. So
Next up, a card that I found very interesting, even the score.
This card's really good.
I love it actually.
Yeah, this
I can see
card's
what
great. Yeah, there's no way this card's not going to see play somewhere. At a lot of somewheres.
Macius, you play like higher competitive things like CDH. Do you think this would see CDH play?
I don't think so because it is straight like draw, like for perspective. Ad nauseum, even though it's a different color, is still like you can draw more cards for 5 mana.
I mean,
This for
to be
5
fair,
mana you
if you're
draw
putting
5.
that-
CDH,
fair-
no, but higher power games, maybe?
Yes, higher powered. Yes.
Maybe mono blue in CEDH.
Yeah.
Because then it's not a problem if you have to like actually hard cast it and spend the triple blue.
I guess if someone's drawing 4 or more cards, you know what's interesting is you can play this immediately if someone brainstormed for that turn.
Yeah.
If someone brainstorms
Like,
on their own turn,
You
yeah.
can automatically play. Yeah.
And it is instant speed, so that does give you a lot of flexibility. It's very fun to play off of a wheel. Imagine somebody wheels.
That's actually a really good point.
Imagine somebody wheels, then tries to windfall, and somebody else casts even the score.
Yeah, that's spicy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it just seems like the amount of cards you could end up drawing off of this, or end up drawing off of it, it just seems way too ridiculous. Like,
That's a good.
and
I think that'd
the
be a
fact
little
that
hard
if somebody else manages to get a lot of card draw, you could get that card draw for basically free, 1 mana card. That's absurd. That's just too good. Somebody else is going to draw 4 or more cards in a turn.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
you're going to just be able to pay 1 mana per card and draw a ton of cards at once.
I think the thing, and this is just purely in CDH going back to this, is that if you're going to have a big X draw spell, even in like mono blue, you probably have unbound mana by then because it's like Scepter or Isocon Scepter, Dramatic Reversal, where it doesn't matter what your big outlet is. And in that case, I still prefer like Blue Sun Zenith because I can still go, I'm going to make my opponent just draw out the whole deck and win.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And-
Blue Sun, you're targeting your opponent with it, so that's
Yes.
that's a different story. This
No,
you're
no,
not
I know.
targeting anybody, so
But, like-
you're drawing the cards.
No, I know that. But like, if I'm gonna have a big blue X spell to draw cards, I want something that I can use. Like,
Multiple times.
yeah,
You know, I could see this card being fun in a deck like Xeris, the Writhing Storm, where it's just like, hey, your opponent, you're making them draw, and it's just like, right? You're making them draw, and then like you can get draw off of that, like if you make Xeris big enough.
I mean, I'm sure it's cute in Nekasar.
oh yeah.
You know, there's plenty of decks where it's going to be really cute in regardless. So, yeah, I just think,
Agreed.
I think it's
Like-
pretty
like-
solid.
If you're playing like Safari's Puzzle Box, you can automatically get
Oh,
this
God.
card off.
Yeah, that's a good point. But if you're playing Teferi's Puzzle Box, man, you're gross.
I love Puzzle Box. No, you're amazing if you run it. I disagree. I love you if you run it.
I mean, you're gross in the best ways.
Okay, I agree with you
I
though.
love
All right, moving on. Expendable Lackey.
it. And
Nah.
you know, creating an unblockable creature for 2 mana is not terrible.
Just play an unblockable 1 mana creature. It's fine. We can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's token. Maybe there's cute stuff you could do with it.
I could see people who don't have a lot of cards running it in a ninjutsu deck, but that's about it. Like if you're just starting the game, it's probably not terrible compared to the cost of some of the other stuff.
That's a good point.
But that's it though, for me.
Yeah. Fairy Vandal.
That's a reprint, right?
I,
Throne of
I
Eldraine
think
or
so.
no?
I think
It
so.
is a
Is it?
reprint. I used to use that in Arena.
All right,
Eldraine.
all right, yeah, it's a reprint. Okay, I had a feeling it was. I was like, that feels like a reprint. Hypnotic Grifter.
Infinite mana outlet that connives. So
Yes, yes, that's fun.
I think that's the main thing to say about it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about the only thing to say about it. Ledger Shredder.
Fucking
One of my
amazing.
favorite
Yeah.
cards in the set. One of my favorite cards in the set.
Yeah, I
I
like
love
Ledger
Ledger
Shredder.
Strong.
A lot.
So this was the card that I mentioned earlier, but as I've sat here just like thinking about it, I have to agree, it is probably one of the best cards in the set. Like, so before I was saying that it was extremely good, but people were saying, oh, it's an ultimate slam dunk no matter what you play. And I'm like, I wasn't as high on it. I was still saying it's a, like, A card.
Mhm.
But, like, where everyone was saying, like, A+, I was saying solid A. Solid A. But
It's definitely A plus.
I was gonna
But,
say I don't know how you didn't see that it was.
Yeah, no, Ledger
good.
Shredder. It's like second spell each turn. How many times during a game are you playing 2 spells or more in a turn?
Exactly.
no, it's fine. What my issue with it was that people were saying it's like the best card advantage, like card advantage. I'm like, no, it's just filtering.
Yeah,
It's really good, and
yeah.
that's really good. Yeah, no, like in no way am I saying it's a bad card in any sense of the word. I'm just saying like, and that's why I was saying earlier, like how to phrase this.
this card is going to be so huge for CEDH, man. Like, it's just like
Yeah.
it lets you fill up your graveyard. You know, it becomes first off, its stats are really good. You know, having 3 toughness right off the bat is really solid. You know, like you can immediately you play one other card after this, you can connive. It becomes a 2/4. Once it reaches over that 3, it becomes really hard to kill. And then like you're hitting those ad nos players. You know, like it's really hard to like block that. You know, like
Well,
like cards that can get really big like that go such a long way.
so the one thing about, and this again, as I said, as I sat here and thought about it, like every time I keep thinking about it more and more, I keep going, okay, this is better, this is better, this is better, and like going towards that. I'm not disagreeing. I said solid A, and that's where I was before this, but it is really good. One trend that has been happening in CDH is it's going more towards creatures. So with this could get in like no problem before just to poke the ad nauseam player for a ton of life. Now they're more likely to have a creature, but that does not detract from this card at all. I think the best way I can describe this card is someone said it's a mini Crom, the red-blue partner commander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad way to talk
And
about it.
back in the heyday of Timna Crom was so good because people wouldn't play creatures, and you could hit them for 4 really easily, just constantly pressure the ad nauseam player. So
Crom is still seeing huge amounts of play.
oh, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying like people are going more towards like shiny toys, other toys. I'm not saying Crom isn't seeing a ton of play. Hell, one of my favorite decks was still Opus Thief, the Timna Crom wheel deck. I still love that thing.
I want to make an alter of this card, but instead of calling it Ledger Shredder, call it Toilet Shredder and have a picture of Donald Trump on it.
Yeah.
No evidence, no crime. I'm flushing all the paperwork down the fucking toilet.
Shit.
Like,
Well,
as weird as it sounds, I want to call it like an A plus minus, in that it's an A plus card, but there's something that like, mind you, I'm going to buy this card. I'm going to put it in every higher powered CDH deck that I can that plays blue. I do think it's that good. There's just something that's like, and one thing also to note is that the conniving is mandatory. If you have no cards in and your opponent casts a second spell, you lose. You cannot, like, unless you have a way to get rid of it, you have to draw.
Yeah, it is not a May ability, so that can be relevant.
And maybe that's my trepidation, is that it's not a May ability for like the one time in a million games that comes up.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if you're in a CDH game and you're down to like your last card, or you're down to only 1 card,
You fucked up.
You're already in a position.
You fucked
Yeah.
up a consultation.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
I just think the card needs comma CPA on the name tag. That's all.
Yeah. But no.
Yeah, still, in my opinion, one of the best cards in this entire set. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. How about a little chat?
Well,
I like casualty.
yeah.
People run impulse. This is like impulse, right?
Yeah, I don't like. I like
Impulse.
casualty. I don't know if this is a great effect for a casualty spell.
Impulse digs 4,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, this is only
This
digging
does
2.
2, but it gives you 2 cards, but you have to sack a creature, which mono blue or blue something, depending on the color combination, not so great.
I mean, if you have a citizen token,
But if you get rid of the citizen token, how are you going to cast your Angelic Observer?
Valid point.
Majestic Metamorphosis.
man, if it costs 1 in a blue, I would like it for that Shoryun deck.
I mean, I think if it was 1 in blue, it'd be way too strong because this card also cantrips. You know,
What?
it's only into it.
What stopped Wizards in the past from putting 2 powerful blue cards
Right.
at common?
Well, now it's just because this card isn't Simic that it's not broken. If it was Simic, it would be absolutely nuts.
Yeah, no. If it was Simic, it would be hybrid blue-green, no generic, and it makes into a 6/6.
This is a common. I wonder. Maybe this might see Pauper play. I don't know. 3 mana, you turn something into a 4/4 artifact angel with flying, and you're drawing a card. Might be relevant.
I have a question. Does the fact that it doesn't say that its base power and toughness becomes 4/4 make a difference overall into how we look at this card?
The setting of power and toughness is making its base. Because then you apply any modifications.
Oh, so then
that.
it doesn't matter. Okay, fine.
No.
Yeah, then yeah, this is very interesting, and the fact that it draws you a card is absolutely bonkers.
You know, that actually does bring up a good point. It does not become that in addition. It is an artifact creature angel. It is not anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, it is interesting that you can also do it to an artifact, right? And
Vehicles, yeah.
and it's instant speed, so you could be like,
Treasure
I
token.
don't have a blocker, but I have a treasure. It's just like, oh, well, I just turned that treasure into a 4/4 angel, blocked your fucking thing, and drew a card off of it.
Yeah, maybe I just drew a counterspell that's going to fuck you up next turn.
Yeah.
Or even later this turn.
Even better, you turn the treasure into a 4/4 angel, assuming you didn't make the treasure since your last turn. You block, you drew Chain of Vapor, or like an unsummon, you tap sack the treasure and bounce your creature.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cute.
Mm-hmm. How about Make Disappear?
Trash. Like, it is a counter target spell, but it's just like when you have cards like Messcast and stuff like that, is like, they're really this good.
Well, I'll say this. I don't like counter target spell unless its controller pays blank in blue. I like it in any other color. I don't like it in blue. Because in blue, you should just be countering the fucking spell. That's it.
Agreed. And casualty on this has the same issue that it had in the other card.
Well, the casualty on this kind of is cool, right? Because you're making a copy of it, so your opponent might have to interact with this thing twice there. I don't know. I'm like wondering if like it again in like maybe something like CDH. I wonder if this, like 2 mana is kind of, but like being able to like basically cast 2 versions of this card is kind of interesting, right? Because it makes your opponent just like, fuck, how bad do I need this card? More mana is a lot to pay. And
I'd rather have mana leak.
I'd also like to point out that it would be funny with the casualty effect with Errant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing that Errant plays off of, is that she copies casualty spells very well.
Yes.
Well, yeah, any spells that aren't cast. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because sometimes you copy and cast the copy.
Isochron Scepter.
Yeah, like Isochron Scepter. When you're copying a card from somebody's hand or from some zone other than the stack, you usually have to copy it and then cast the copy. But here you're not casting the copy. You're just copying the spell and putting it on the stack. So it does work with Errant. So I thought it was important to note.
Thinking about that makes this card a lot stronger. The fact that you've got a copy, that's just like in a format like CDH, where you're gonna have like a lot of counter spells going on. Everybody has counter spells. Creating a copy that's a lot harder to interact with is actually pretty relevant. I don't know.
But at 2 mana, it's already, as weird as it sounds, like I would much rather have a card like Delay over this.
I've actually fallen out of favor with Delay because we've become like a really stacksy format, and it's just like
Yeah.
lately, like 3 turns has actually been like coming around a lot more often than it used to be. Delay was like one of those cards before. It was just like, yeah, fuck yeah, 3 turns. 3 turns, you're never gonna see that card. Nowadays, it's just like yesterday, I played like
Yeah.
in the span of like 5 hours, I played 3 games.
I
When
mean,
it
in
dr-
our meta, I agree. It's just like stuff
Yeah.
like mental misstep and stuff like this. Like that stuff just doesn't belong in our type of gameplay. Whereas something like DDH, delay really is a counter target spell in a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like delay is good in like our meta, for example. Delay would be good as like a spell to counter other counter spells, but
Yeah.
there are cheaper spells to do that with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of 1 mana spells that do the same, that do exactly that. Delay does give you more options. Sometimes delaying a creature by 3 turns is really nice, but at the same time, it's not good against commanders. There's certain decks where it's just not going to be useful at all. So, I mean, if you're playing Drannith Magistrate, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing with Make Disappear is, again, as you point out earlier, right, it's unless they pay 2. And the slower the meta is, the more likely they'll be able to pay that 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think the casualty. This card would not be good, like even worth considering if it weren't for the casualty. The casualty is what makes it really strong because having that extra like, oh well, I could do this and now I can, like let's say if I'm playing Malevolent Hermit or something like that, right? I have Malevolent Hermit and I Make Disappear. I could like use this to kill off my Malevolent Hermit and like put a copy that you can't exactly counter, right? Like.
Well, why not? It's on the stack. You can still interact with it.
Can you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could still counter it. You could counter the copy.
Well,
I mean, that's kind of how Flusterstorm has to work.
I think it's an interesting card. There's that's it.
All right, so
I think it's interesting. For sure.
can I say Obscura Initiate and moving on to the next
Can
card?
we let's initiate that into the garbage can.
Yes, an offer you can't refuse.
Okay. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this before I share mine, because I'm
In
very
metas like
curious.
ours, it's okay. The slower, the less powerful, the better, for sure.
Yes. Okay. Inko actually, that's my exact thoughts. Is coming from where I come from, I do not like this, and I think that anyone like hyping up as like the best counters, no.
Like this is good in kind of the same way that Swan Song is good.
Oh yeah, no. I think Swan Song is better than this, but yeah.
I think Swan Song is better than it too. But if you can't afford a Swan Song, well, an offer you can't refuse is pretty good. So I definitely think it's a good budget option for people who can't afford a Swan Song for whatever reason. I mean, they're going to reprint Swan Song enough where it's going to be affordable at some point. Yeah. But I think it's okay. As a matter of fact, this is exactly what I wrote when I did my notes. A not free way to protect your combo. Swan Song's still better in most cases, but money.
Yeah.
I do think a discussion could be had of, I feel this is in the dispel miscast spell pierce tier.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. I feel like I would rather run this than Dispel, honestly. Honestly, Dispel only countering target instant has hurt me sometimes. It's just like,
Yeah.
I really want to fuck up this sorcery, but I can't, and the problem is, right, the creator getting 2 treasure tokens, it depends on what deck you're coming across.
Yeah, that is a huge concern. Which deck you're giving the 2 treasure tokens to? I agree.
Like 1 mana for that. there are times where, like, if you're really mana screwed, maybe you might counter yourself to get those 2 treasures, because sometimes you need those colors. It's just like, Jesus Christ, I can't play myself in library. I don't have the green. I kept the greedy hand, or something happened and I don't have access to that color.
Yeah, I mean
But
it's definitely a playable counterspell, but it's definitely a notch below Swan Song at least.
I do think that is phenomenal in a counter war as the last counter spell. Like,
Yes.
I cast something, my opponent tries to counter it, I try and counter that, and then they go to counter that, and I just offer, and it's like they have no other cards in hand to use it. The thing I cast is going to win me the game. It doesn't matter in that case where that they have 2 treasure tokens if I've won the game.
Yes, but that's exactly the same situation as
Yes.
Swan Song.
No.
Which is exactly my point.
Yeah. No. I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
So it's good because like, at the end of the day, it's just like, like, sure, it might give your opponent another play to do, but like, if you're stopping something vital for 1 mana, that's really strong.
Yeah, I mean there are definitely places like outside of protecting your combo where it's definitely good, but it's definitely situational, and it's more situational than like a Swan Song or any of the other 1 mana counter spells.
Yeah, I like, just the fact that it's 1 mana makes it like, again, like we were talking about, like, I agree completely with what Misha says, where it's in the same family of like dispel, like miscast, like those types of things. It's just like, it's got some fighting room, but we have I guess we have to see how, like, this works in the format. We just got to play test it and see ourselves, right?
I do want to point out a funny thing. Back to Sakashima, you can just keep giving them the treasures by, like, flipping getting enough coin flips to go your way, that they can cast wherever they want. You're always going to be able to counter it as long as it's a non-creature. Like, you cast offer, you win a flip and you lose. You win a flip and you lose a flip. So it copies the offer, it bounces the original offer back to your hand. It counters their spell. They get the 2 treasures. The other one, the original, doesn't resolve because the spell isn't on the field. They can go cast something, but you still have offer in your hand. It's kind of high roll, but it's like funny where it's like, I don't care how many treasures I'm giving you. I can counter anything I want.
Interesting, yes.
I like that.
But
All right, next card out of the way.
I was having a conversation with Reaper about this card. I was just like, this card was almost good, right? Because it's just like, there's situations. A green permanent is something that you're going to come across really often, but then, like, at its best, it's kind of like a snap that draws you a card, but most of the time it's not, right?
Yeah, my issue with it ultimately is that it's a worse feel bad than even like Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast can sometimes be feel bads. I mean, so many people play blue that in some way, shape, or form that it's not awful to play them, but they do have that occasional feel bad when you're not playing against anybody who's playing blue, and it's like, well, shit, I have 2 dead cards in my deck. But out of the way, it's like you never want to pay 4 for that.
Never.
I was just about to ask you what you meant by feel bad, because I was gonna say counterspells aren't really feel bad cards, but now that you explained it, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like you never want to pay 4 for this, and that's an issue.
I think this card has a use if your meta is heavy green. Like,
Yes.
heavy green is full of green permanents you have to answer. Like,
Well, it's just like Okame Adversary. I mean, you're always going to be good to go for 2
Yeah.
mana. It's just a question of whether you want to have
Well,
it or not.
the other thing about Okame Adversary is that the relevant creature type for Najila and being a, like, death touch swinging. But yeah, no, I fully get the point. I think it's much better than the last color hoser we looked at, whatever that freaking white one was. That was like deal 4 damage, but
Oh yeah, no, this
Still.
is way better than the white version of this card, but it's still not really all that impressive.
Yeah, that was almost good. This card was almost good, is what I want to say about it.
Yeah. All right, next up, Psionic Snoop. Sorry.
um, I think if this card would have had at least 1 power, I think I would have liked it a little bit more.
Or
Well,
some
the
other
cost,
keyword
too.
other than flash.
Like, yeah, but
Than just flash.
you have to connive, right? And then you have to connive in order for it to get any power, and then it's just like, then it's just a 1/3. Like,
Oh, it's a
like
1/4.
yeah, sorry, 1/4, but like no other keywords or anything like that. It's just
That's my issue with it. Is no other keyword. I wish it had something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Flash is like I'll be honest, like out of all the ETB connives cards, like this is the one I maybe like the best for Brago as of this point. Um, just because it's Flash, and it enables you to hold up mana for like counter spells or things you have in your hand, and then well, if nobody dropped a counter spell, I'll cast Ionic Snoop, I'll connive, and then sets it up for Brago.
Yeah, but most of those decks run a lot of mana rocks, even yours.
Yeah,
Really that relevant?
well, I'm just
like
saying you're still holding the mana open.
I feel like if that's the case, I'd rather run the bird than this one. The bird that we talked about earlier.
The 4 mana
The-
one.
The Ledger Shredder? Or
yeah,
the other one?
no. It was the ETB.
Oh, the
connive.
4 mana bird?
Yeah, like I would rather run that than this because at least flying is a relevant keyword and good stats. This is just a big
Yeah,
five.
it depends. It depends on whether you want to attack with it or whether you want the flexibility of having the flash part of it.
Like 100% of the time, I would personally prefer the 2 mana cost wizard. Or if I had to choose between like this or the bird, I would definitely prefer the bird because
Mm.
at least the bird can swing for something.
I don't know. I'm kind of not sure. I would have to test them both out and see how they both play out because I could see cases where I might want the Snoop over the bird.
Like Flash is nice. It's just,
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the makeup of your deck.
Yeah. Well,
I love
now
the artwork.
now let's get to a creature that is much more interesting for Brago, Psychic Pickpocket.
Yeah.
And Mac, I was going to say that this is probably the card that you were talking about earlier when you said there was a card that I would much rather have in Brago than all those other cards.
Oh yeah.
And it's absolutely this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Like-
yeah.
It's not even opponent's non-land permanent. You can even bounce your own.
Yeah. Yeah, the flexibility is like absolutely bonkers. There's like so many good places to play it.
Yeah.
You know, blink decks anywhere would be fine. I mean, it's 5 mana. That's the only kind of gross part about it, but you're getting so much out of the conniving. You know, you're not just getting the connive, you're getting a bounce, and that bounce is huge when you're flickering the creature in and out of play.
Yeah, because that
And again, one of my favorite parts of any ability would return up to, because you don't have to. If
Yeah.
there's nothing you want to bounce, you
That's a
aren't
good point.
forced to bounce something.
that is a good point.
And this would serve the same function in Brago effectively as the Rishodon guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I run 2 of them. I run the 2 bigger ones, which I think is the cut purse and the footpad, if I recall correctly, are the 2 that I run in Brago. This does basically the same thing. You're conniving, which is okay. You know, you're bouncing permanents, which is okay. But the thing is, everybody's permanents are going to be back in their hands. You're going to have dug through your entire fucking deck. You know, you're going to get there sooner or later. You know, so and plus, my version of Brago at least runs like multiple time spiral effects.
Yeah.
You know, so with the time spiral effects in there, it's helpful because then the conniving doesn't really hurt you as much as it ordinarily would. Especially when you would be conniving like 30 or 40 times. You know, you can't go infinite, but I didn't have to go infinite with the Rishodon guys anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I look at this card.
Oh yeah.
You know, But so yeah, blinking and Brago, very good card. Rolling right along. Unless anybody else got anything.
Yeah.
How about Public Enemy, yo?
I like this card a lot.
I love it. I love it. I wish it was not blue. I wish it was either black or red so I could play it in Xancha.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw this card and immediately I was just like, Super Friends deck, right?
Yeah, I wish it was red for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Like this card makes me want to dust off my Moldro with a Super Friends deck. Because I could just like be super annoying with it. Well, kill off their commander if you ever want to swing at my planeswalker. Oh, you got rid of it? All right, cool. I'll just put it on something else.
You know what's funny? This and Pramicon.
Yeah, but I think any Super Friends deck would really not hate this.
Yeah, but
You know,
but Pramicon especially because you're already fucking with combat. That would pretty much mean that combat could only go in one direction around the entire table.
Oh God, you're right.
There's only one player who can swing, and there's only one player who can block, and that's it.
That is
Oh
pretty
God,
funny.
I'm sorry for the maniacal laugh, but
Oh, it's fine.
that's going to be fun in Pramicon. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Especially
this is
if
very
one of
fun.
my opponents has an indestructible creature. Oh, thank you.
That's just evil, really.
I know.
What I like about it too is that it also draws you a card when it's done its job, right? It's done its job, the card's dead.
Exactly.
You get a card.
Or when somebody gets rid of it.
Yeah, this card's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, Pramicon. Oh yeah. So Reservoir Kraken.
I mean, format of Kraken's kind of relevant.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
It's fits that mold of like Desecration Demon. Except
Yes.
for instead of giving +1/+1 counters, it gives fish. Unblockable fish. I see this less as like a 4-mana 6/6 and more as a 4-mana Ward 2. Just create a 1/1 fish if Reservoir Kraken's untapped once per turn cycle. Or without like untap effects. I see it as a token generator more than I see it as an actual like beat face.
Could you imagine if there's a deck that wants to tap its own creatures and your Reservoir Kraken's already tapped and they're like, yeah, I'll just tap it anyway. Have a fish token. Go ahead. I want my creature tapped. It's fine.
Yeah, this card's cool. Inko, you okay? I feel like we haven't heard from Inko in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, so the Kraken's interesting. Rooftop Nuisance, more casualty.
I don't really like these types of effects. Right? I mean, it draws you a card. I guess that's cool.
If you it allows you to turn a 1-power creature into a card because you copy the whole thing. So it's tap 2 target creatures and untap, draw 2 for 2 and sack a creature. So I'm not high on it either, but it is something like
I have only 5 words for this card. Wish it was an instant.
yeah, actually that's
What? Yeah, I didn't even realize that. That makes me like it a lot less.
Yeah, no, this card's straight toilet because it's not an instant. If it was an instant, it'd be fine, but this is straight toilet.
Agreed. Next.
Run out of town.
it's a
Those kind of effects a lot.
That 4 mana is a lot for that.
yeah.
4 mana is a lot for that. Let's move.
I feel like it's kind of average for that type of ability, right?
No,
I
that's usually
like that.
cheaper.
It reminds me of that 5-mana spell I like a lot. Future Sight.
Yeah. I mean, I could see this in maybe a deck where like you want to care about like putting a card at the very bottom of your library, right? Like I think Fibblethip, right? Doesn't Fibblethip do something like that? I know there are certain decks where it's just like the win con is like you put the card all the way at the bottom of your library, so that way you can like basically dig through your whole deck. I know there's some cards that do stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
fast as Oracle.
Proteus staff? No.
No, no, I don't think so.
Ah.
It's okay.
Oh,
Pretty bad.
like tunnel vision stuff.
Yes, like those types of decks might
Yeah,
care
yeah.
about us, but other than that, yeah. And it doesn't make citizens, so who cares?
Yeah.
How about security bypass?
Good in Bruna.
Good in Voltron. Yeah, I literally just wrote Voltron after it.
100%.
Yeah, sewer crocodile.
I have one word for this. Canal Session Crocodile.
Ooh.
Yes,
That is the German name of it in chat.
yes.
Yeah, it's got amazing flavor text. Quick, let's hide in the sewer. Jincy the thief, now deceased.
Yes. The first name of the first word in the name of the card tells you exactly what I think of the card.
But Red, what about my crocodile tribal?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, with your crocodile tribal. Sleep with
Hold
the
on.
fishes.
Hold on, I have one more thing about
What?
it. It blocks citizens very well. Okay.
All right, sleep with the motherfucking fishes tonight. What's up with
I
that?
love this card. I love this card just for flavor alone. Like just like
Flavor, it's an A. Actually, it's no. Four
Yeah.
mana.
I feel like these 1/1 fishes are gonna be relevant.
They are, but 4 mana for a 1/1 fish, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the thing that you want them to like all of a sudden like, oh, by the way, I can get rid of the creature and you don't get your fish either.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this card's maybe not good for Commander. Maybe there might be other formats where it might be.
Oh yeah,
somewhat
there's
useful.
probably somewhere else it's good, not Commander, and that's all we care about here, right? Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Slip out the back.
I like this card.
Love
Yeah, oh
it.
yeah.
Love it.
It has its place. I
Yeah.
like that they brought back phasing.
I
Agreed.
love that they brought back phasing. You don't know how much it excites me that phasing is back because it's such a great ability.
It really is. And what was it? There was a podcast I was watching. And it was a CDH podcast. They were talking about this card, and they were like, another good thing about phasing is that like the more cards we have with phasing, the more common a keyword it is, because there are still a lot of people who get confused with what phasing does. So like the more cards we have with phasing, the more common it is,
Yeah.
the more people are going to know about it and like
Yeah.
explain that. I like it a lot. Putting the 1/1 counter on a card can be relevant. Phasing it is great protection. Like the one downside that they talked about on that podcast, which I can kind of see too, is just like the problem is it's just like for that mana, it's like you could also just have like the counter spell for the most part.
Yeah. Like, I also want to point out that there's kind of a, I don't want to say incongruity, but just like a mismatch between getting a +1/+1 counter on a creature that, maybe that matters, maybe it doesn't, but then you can't use that additional power toughness immediately. And it's not anything to like, go against the card. It's just like looking at it there's that slight mismatch. Like just that little hiccup.
Yeah, to me, it basically says put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, counter target spell that is targeting it. You know what I'm saying? And then phase it, and the phasing out just means that if somebody else tries to board wipe, well, they're not going to get you phased out, dude.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I like the fact that they've brought back phasing, even though it's just in a limited capacity. I like it, and I really like this card. Atraxa is going to love this card. Just wait until you try to remove my Atraxa, I go, Atraxa is going to slip out the back. Thank you very much.
I feel like there's a lot of innuendos waiting to be made with this card.
Oh, absolutely. Slip it in the back, slip it out the back. But yeah, it's a pretty strong card. I like it.
Yeah.
I think any deck that relies on creatures, like I might play it in my Azami deck just to protect Azami.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Undercover operative.
Clone effects are always good.
Yeah.
It's an amazing clone. I love it.
Coming in with a shield counter is also really relevant.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So-
Shield counters are awesome.
One thing I've had it on X-Mage, but I've never built in paper. I've wanted to build Gyruda clone tribal, where my whole goal is just basically keep
Okay.
cloning Gyruda until like a lab man Thassa's Oracle win.
Fuck those decks, man. They are really good. They are really consistent too. Like seriously, you gotta you can't let Garuda hit the field. Because if Garuda hits the field,
Yeah.
it's pretty much over because they are gonna literally waterfall into a fucking
Yeah.
victory.
And I
Yeah.
even have the Gigan, like old Godzilla print of it.
Nice.
I picked up like when it was cheap, so I've been worrying about that, but yeah.
One of our friends who plays with us over here, Reaper has that deck, and another friend of mine also had that deck, and it's fucking miserable in the best way. It's a good deck. It's a really good deck. That's the problem. It's a really good deck. It's just like, all right, well, I hit this. Oh, look, I hit a copy card. Make another Garuda. All right, let's continue on with the train. And like 10 minutes later, they've milled out like 60 cards.
Yeah.
Get the Dread return. You could, it's gross.
Windshield Agent.
Fine.
It's okay.
Like, it gets a shield counter, it can give another creature flying, but again, in Commander, I don't see this being played.
It doesn't fly itself. It's not worth it.
Yeah. If it and the creature you gave flying to were a thing, then we'd be okay. But
Yeah, if it was flying, I'd feel much better about it, but it's not. So no.
card's mediocre.
All right. Wiretapping.
I like it.
I'm not thinking crazy about it. 5 mana for like right. I try not to think too much about the hideaway unless you can like get the hideaway ability like right away. But like you're paying 5 mana just for
Additional draw,
Yeah.
which you can get for 3. But I'm just seeing it more as in there might, if you're like, I don't think Red would play this in Azusa, not Azusa, Azami. God, I always get those two, just the names.
Mm-hmm.
But I could at least, I don't think you'd play it for long, but I could see you like testing it just because you can maybe get up to. But the issue is you have to have 9 cards in your draw step, but
I feel
Yeah, I don't know how often in that deck
Oh,
I
no.
really have 7 cards.
I feel like you're in blue. You
Actually-
have so many better options. It's,
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't.
If it wasn't so aggressively costed, I would like it more.
Yeah,
yeah. If it was cheaper, I would probably try it out in Azami. It's 5 mana. I'm not too thrilled about it.
yeah,
Right. And it's like 5 mana, and you're not even getting that ability right away. Like
It
you gotta wait.
it has to make it around the board.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And somebody's going to
Yeah.
count the number of cards in my hand, and they're going to do the math, and they're going to realize that that I'm going to be able to cast that card. They're not going to let me trigger that.
So that's
Yeah.
why I think this card is booty.
You know, I just think it's not worth it. All right, now for one of my favorite overall cards in the set, Witness Protection.
Booty.
Okay.
This card's amazing.
So ignoring our meme about citizens,
What are you talking about? I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna be like, you can use this card to turn one of your creatures, so you can get the Angelic Observer out.
and it's also named legitimate business person. But no, I like this as a way to deal with it's 1 mana, and it's a way to deal with shit like Gitrog,
Dude,
where it's like
cards-
fuck you. But I know
Or
if they're
Perforos or Aetherios.
This card is really fucking solid. Being
Yeah.
1 mana makes it super annoying. Like I want to run in Meldrotha. I want to run in Meldrotha. Be annoying. Like, all right, I put this on your commander for 1 fucking mana. Like, oh, too bad, so sad.
like I know that I'm gonna compare it to Canvas Transformation. It's 1 less, but you don't get to draw a card. But instead of giving them a 3/3 elk, you're giving them a 1/1 like
Which-
creature. That means I can die a lot easier, but it also means that if they come after your ass, you aren't taking 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
So-
like a lot. Really strong. It's
Like,
a common too. Gross.
yeah, it's not gonna stay like. It's not one of those cards that like immediately goes in every single blue deck, but I can see it definitely like coming in and out depending on like what I expect to be facing, what I expect to be dealing with, like just how my whole like how all of it lines up.
Can you imagine this card in the deck with Sun Titan?
Oh yeah, no, it's great. It's just constantly like get if it's not in play and you attack with Sun Titan, it gets rid of quote unquote the biggest like thing, the biggest way on the table.
Yeah.
No, I love this card so much. I actually think it could go in any blue deck, right? Because these types of abilities are so strong, so underplayed, and the reason they're usually underplayed is because usually they're like 3 mana.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
mana for this ability is huge. 1 mana turn off your commander is great.
Yes.
What I mean in every deck is like this is a you are always going to be playing this card. I think that there are times where you're going to take it out for something else, but I don't think that when you take it out, it's never coming back in. I think it's one of those things that rotates in and out. I think it is like for the quote, like the 101st card. It's like always good to have, but you may not always want it all the time.
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
there's a lot of situations where like Song of the Dryads is way better, even though it's 2 more mana in a different color.
Yeah.
They were imprisoned in the moon.
Or
Yes.
Imprisoned in the Moon for
Yeah.
the same color. Absolutely, Imprisoned in the Moon's another good example.
It,
Personally-
like it just depends on like what you want to be answering. If people go away from like needing their commanders to do their stuff, then Imprison the Moon gets better. If they want their commanders more, then Witness Protection gets better. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, understood.
Uh,
Absolutely.
To be fair, I would probably put this in a lot more decks first before I would even consider like Imprison in the Moon and Song of the Dryads. Like that. I mean, Song of the Dryads. You have that ability in green is pretty rare. But 1 mana, so fucking strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You know?
the thing is though is that Song of the Dryads hits
It's permanent.
hits.
It's,
Well, no, it's permanent, which means it's commanders that are gods that aren't always creatures. Aetherios.
Yeah.
Hi Zen.
listen, man. One of my favorite things to do. Don't get me wrong. I love cards like Imprison the Moon, Song of the Dryads. One of my favorite things I ever did to someone was like, I turned their thing into a forest, and then I imprisoned that forest in the moon. Like, turn their commander into a tree, then put that tree in the moon. So, so it's like goodbye to your fucking commander.
Yeah,
forever.
that's like double suffering.
That's exactly why I did it.
See, at least I turned your Aetherios into a forest, and then I took your Aetherios. The
I got a bad
silence.
taste in my mouth about that.
What?
I said I still got a bad taste in my mouth about that.
Yeah, I know, especially because I was always tapping it first. Angel
we
of Suffer.
found-
What?
We made it to black.
Yes, we made it to
Fine.
black finally. Angel of Suffering.
What did we start at? We started at 9. It only took 2.5 hours, guys.
I like the Angel stuff a lot.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, Angel
Yeah.
of Suffering is rather interesting.
This card is gross. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely playable. It's not an angel as far as angels are concerned. Khalio probably wants no part of it. But
Another card for Nightmare Tribal.
but yes, anything that wants to put cards in its graveyard seems like that would be pretty good.
for sure. Also, I just like the idea of like Black Angels. I want to see more of this.
Yeah,
yeah.
it'd be pretty interesting. I think it's very odd to have a mono black angel, but okay, I'm okay with it.
I don't think it's the first one. I think we've had another one.
Oh no, it's definitely not the first one, but
I want to see more of this.
yeah,
This card, I think this card has the potential to be like really strong. I don't know about game breaking, but this card's like really fucking annoying.
yeah, I could see it being annoying. So what do y'all think about Body Launderer?
But non-rogue is there, so you can't loop 2 of them in non-singleton formats, but so the non-token, I get why they do it. I've not liked it, but the fact is, non-token creature dies, connive. Yeah, I'm down for that. And the connive feeds into its second ability or third ability, where you can then revive something later on.
Yeah,
I think this is a win.
yeah.
And like,
Merrin really kind of likes this.
oh yeah,
This card's pretty gross in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be very gross in a lot of decks that were already pretty gross, working along these exact same lines.
Yeah, fills your graveyard. But can set up some pretty good stuff, right? 'Cause when it does, you return non-rogue with equal or lesser power from the graveyard to the battlefield.
yep.
So there's some cute shit you could do. Like I'm trying to think not like Phyrexian Delver, like something maybe a little bit less hurt you. But there's some definitely some gross stuff to be done with this card. Being a rogue is relevant. 3/3 Death Touch relevant. And I'm hoping we see more ogres. I really want to see
Yeah,
an ogre
think about something like playing Reclamation Sage, for example, and having Ashnod's Altar out, sacrifice the Rec Sage, make 2 mana, pay 2 black, cast Body Wanderer. Seems okay, and if you need to sacrifice Body Wanderer, say to Birthing Pod or something like that, well, you get the Rec Sage back.
Yep.
I mean, he fills your graveyard too with the connive. That's what I think is so strong about connive. It's a great way to fill up your graveyard. Like decks that want cards in the graveyard are gonna fucking love these types of abilities.
There's-
And like he's gonna get huge too. He's already a 3/3 Death Toucher. He's only gonna get bigger over time. This card can be pretty gross.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might rebuild my Merrin deck, but making it like almost entirely creatures and like kind of Birthing Pod kind of strategy to just like really change the whole way the deck works.
I'm not saying anything in between is bad, but my favorite types of creatures for Death Touch are either 1/1s where you don't want to waste a removal spell on them, but if you want to get in with a key creature, you have to, or really big creatures because it just disincentivizes like blocking them even more. Even if you have a big butt, they can still just get through it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
great.
I hear what you're saying. The thing is, like, when I play Merrin, I very rarely attack. I'm usually
Yeah.
not attacking in a Merrin deck. I'm usually just
no,
controlling
my
the
comment
board.
was more for before
But,
you were talking about rebuilding Marin.
Gotcha. Yeah, I want to try to build a deck that's more creature focused and
Yeah.
plays off like the Grave Pact synergies a little better and does things like Ashnod's Altar, for example, because I wasn't doing that before. I was doing a more like board control strategy. Which was nice, but it just makes games drag on too long. All right, we got our next hideaway card coming up: Cemetery Tampering.
I think this card's just okay. Like 3 mana's not terrible because it's got the hideaway. Like I feel like a card even a card like Search for Azcanta isn't as good as it was before.
Yeah.
This card's basically like Search for Azcanta, but also with the hideaway, it's okay.
The other thing to worry about is that once you've gotten the card off the hideaway, it's still in play, milling you every turn for 3, which maybe if you care about the graveyard, yeah, that's fine, but pure mill 3 is, it's you may.
Yeah, you may. It's not a mandatory.
Oh, that actually... I think I guess I'm a little bit higher on it than humans, but I do agree that it's just 20 or more cards is a little bit more than you think.
Agreed. It's not terrible though. It is also you may, so
And it's 3 mana. It's not 5 mana like the other 2 we've seen, so that is something going towards it.
If you're playing a graveyard deck, maybe you want this over Phyrexian Arena, maybe.
Guys, I'd like to interject here for a second. Inko's going to be signing off. He's passing out on his end. So,
Okay.
good night, brother.
Talk to you later, Inko.
I don't know when he's going to actually like log off, but yeah, I just saw them. I saw the message from him come across, and I was like, oh, like I had to like, the problem was I had to check on my phone, so it took me a minute. In any case, yeah, like I think Cemetery Tampering's pretty decent. Like I think there's plenty of strategies where you're gonna want to just play it anyway, and the fact that it's a May effect is fine. If you don't need it anymore, whatever, goodbye. It's fine.
May effect definitely is a lot better than I gave it credit for, because hey, someone has someone just played a Rest of Peace out. You have this, and it's just like, well, you know what? I don't feel like just exiling the top 3 cards of my library, so I really need to draw this turn.
Yep, exactly.
So definitely a little bit better than I gave it credit for.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Corrupt Court Officials reprint, believe it or not.
I do want to talk about this though as a slight tangent. So yeah, another card, ETB, target opponent discards card, yada yada. I like it's a reprint from Portal of Three Kingdoms.
Yes.
And I like that. I want to see more of Portal of Three Kingdoms cards just reprinted because they're expensive, because they're rare. Not necessarily because they're good. 3 visits is good, but it's just another Nature's Law. But
yes.
like seeing that in Commander Legends made me happy, even though I already own a Portal 3 Kingdoms version of 3 visits. I was still happy about.
Yeah, and I mean, Shirai really wants this card, right? Shirai, Shizuo's Caretaker.
Yeah.
The more of these types of abilities, the better.
Yeah, it gives players of that deck another way of getting a card, because I think it was a $25 common.
Wow.
And now you can get it as draft champ. So I'm a big fan of when you can, or when it fits, just reprint that stuff.
Yes, I completely agree with that. It's a shame they haven't done it more and sooner. They've had plenty of opportunities to do it.
For fuck's sake.
Oh Jesus!
Like, make it. Even if it's not that many more copies. Okay, I know. Actually, no, never mind. I was gonna say reprint fucking Imperial Seal in like fucking Kamigawa.
No, that's got to be like a master set, bro.
Yeah, they're gonna
no.
put that in like Modern Masters or something, or like Double Masters or something. That's not.
Mind you, I own the Judge copy, so.
Yeah, no, I listen. I feel the same way about a lot of cards, especially that Portal 3 Kingdom stuff is not reserved list at all.
No.
So it's all reprintable. Just fucking keep reprinting these cards.
Actually, there's one card that's not reprintable because it's weird syntax. It's riding the Delu horse. +2/+2 in horsemanship. I did not leave out until end of turn.
Yes. Yes, that is a problem. That will probably never be reprinted.
But
by the way, this card's flavor text, Corrupt Court Officials flavor text is really cool. I wouldn't call what they have here a justice system. More like an auction.
Sounds about right.
I take a glance about 5 miles, well, 5, 10, 15, 20, I don't fucking know, to a direction towards somewhere, and yeah.
All right, so I feel safe in saying we could skip over Crooked Custodian.
Can we just toss this card in the garbage?
Yes.
Hey, listen, man. He's an ogre and a rogue, okay?
Yeah,
he's not a citizen. That's the important part. Cut of the Prophets.
I think this card's not bad.
I don't like it because there's so many other pay X, draw X, lose X life in black already, and Casualty 3 is already kind of.
I feel like black can afford that Casualty 3.
Yeah, but you have to have a 3-cost creature that like you want to get rid of at that point. And
no, it's power. It's power 3.
Yeah, power 3. But it's like Casualty 1 and 2, you have like 1 and 2 powered creatures usually. They're like, okay, they did their job, they can die, or you want them to die. But when you get, it's like the same thing. It's the same way of my thinking as like Crew. at a point, it's like, how many times am I gonna have a 3-power creature that I want to sacrifice?
I think I'm gonna put it in the in better terms. The problem is that most tokens in black are 1/1s and 2/2s, not 3/3s.
Well, like think about it like a deck like Marin. Would Marin completely hate something like this?
It's a sorcery. It's not a permanent. And there's other better ways to kill a creature in Marin to get her ability to trigger.
Yeah,
I guess it can be a little mana intensive. I don't think it's a trash card. I think
And-
they're
No, I'm not saying it's trash.
yeah, and depending on what kind of Marin build you're running, you might not be gaining enough life to offset the loss of life. So that's an issue. But
definitely better if it was instant though. Then
like
again, if it was-
I still think it's pretty decent.
You think if it was instant speed, this would have been like mythic worthy?
If it was instant, I'd be a lot higher on it.
If
Because
this was
then you could
instant,
say-
I would think it's one of the best draw spells Black's ever seen. That's not necropotence or anything where you're fucking with your graveyard.
Yeah.
You know, just to
Well-
make sure we cut out all the obvious cards.
Fair.
Like I would rather play if Cut of the Prophets was instant, I'd rather play that than Phyrexian Arena.
I'm very low on Phyrexian Arena because 3-cost draw a card is not where I want to be.
Right? It's definitely not as great as it used to be. Like I feel like 2 years ago it was like really strong card, and now it's just like it's an okay card.
I think they just gave Black better like Sign in Blood kind of effects over
Like-
time.
Like how big does X have to be if you're doing casualty for you to say that it's like good? Like X is X is 3, so draw 6, lose 6.
Yeah, when you put it like that, like I think I would prefer like oh man, there was this black card that came in the
But that's 5 mana, sacrifice a 3-power creature, draw 6 cards, lose 6 life. Might be okay with that in certain situations. I might be perfectly okay with that.
well if you're
At that
four
point,
into
you
it,
have ad nauseum.
yeah, but ad nauseam you have to build.
Yeah,
around
but
this.
ad nauseum is also you can do it end of turn.
True, but again, ad nauseam you have to really build around to like really take full advantage of ad nauseam. The prophets is just like I have a graveyard century deck where I have a deck where I'm sacking creatures anyway. I could just put this in there.
But there's also was it
Ad nauseam.
not Peer Through Depths, Peer into the Abyss? The 7 mana, draw half your deck, lose half your life.
I do think when you compare it to like card like Peer to the Abyss, this card looks like Hot Dookie.
I'm not saying it's hot dookie. I'm just saying like it's
No. When you compare it to that, you did make a little bit of value on this card. I was just like, oh yeah, that's true. Why wouldn't it just Peer to the Abyss over this card?
Yeah.
Like sure, Peer to the Abyss is 7 mana, but like, what,
Like, if-
you're gonna have to,
Yeah.
you want to pay right? Like you're not gonna cast this card for like 2 or 3 mana. At minimum, you're gonna want to put at least 3 into it, and then have hopefully something. You could even run Promise with Power. Right? What is it?
Yeah.
It's like a 5-drop.
the one with Entwine.
Yeah, even something
Yeah.
like that could be better. All right, you know what? You guys have made me completely hate this card all of a sudden. Now I'm just like I've never sinned what I said before. I don't like this card as much.
And like I'd be fine on this if it was Casualty 2 instead of Casualty 3. I think it's playable. I just don't think it's particularly like it's a B. It's
Well,
a solid. It's a B. It's a B card.
Yeah, it's not amazing, but like I
you
can see
actually-
certain
I
decks
think-
trying to use it.
I was actually thinking of something. Actually, if you're like that new Grixis recon that came out for the set, like with casualty, maybe if you have like multiple ways to like
Yeah.
if you're copying a card, you get multiple copies of that. This card could start getting kind of crazy.
Yeah, in
Right.
that deck,
Like,
it
you're
will
able-
be better.
Twinning staff, those types of abilities, it might actually start getting kind of like crazy.
Yeah.
Still mana intensive though. It's like again, peer into the abyss.
Yes.
Like damn it, you had to bring it up, and I'm just like, oh shit, he's right. That card's just better in every way.
Yeah. So, Cutthroat Contender is another one that I think we could just safely skip over.
You want it in Edgar. You want it.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you wanted an Edgar, but that's about it.
Sure.
Edgar and probably the new Grixis vampire chick that came out. Who cares about you playing vampires, right? It's
Yeah.
just another one drop.
Yeah, outside of Vampire, it's not interesting. Deal Gone Bad.
No.
No, also very bad.
Ulcerate is better than this, and that even makes you lose 3 life. Yes, you can make someone mill 3 cards, but 4 mana -3/-3, no.
All right, Demon's Due. Speaking of Sign and Blood effects.
It's another Sign in Blood effect.
Yes, it's another Sign in Blood,
rather
but for
have-
4 mana.
Yeah, cool art though. That's it.
Yes, cool art, everything else, trash.
It's good. It's a good card to play, like in your like if you're playing low power, like your first EDH deck, you and your friends are getting Magic. Yeah, fine there, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But other than that,
So, Dig Up the Body.
fine and limited. Casualty one's nice to see, instant speed, but
I just want to point out that is exactly how I look when I wake up in the morning.
damn, you look good when you wake up in the morning. I'm like a festering pile of like goo.
Thank you. I just get out of my crypt and look at how miserable the day's gonna be.
I look like an oversized Robert Smith with Vulcan eyebrows.
Is it weird I can
Moving
actually
on.
imagine that?
Moving
Anyway,
on,
yeah, moving on.
Dusk Mangler.
This card's cool. I think this card will see play. I
Well,
think this card will see play. Like the art card.
I'll say this. If you're getting it out of your graveyard, it's amazing. Otherwise, it's 7 mana. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard casting it sucked, but like any graveyard deck, hell yeah, you could, if you could like repeatedly fucking bring this card out, like things are gonna get hitting each opponent is annoying.
Yeah, but you have to be able to get it out of the graveyard like multiple times a turn. Like you have to really be doing something dumb with it.
Yeah, I think there's ways to do it.
Oh no, there's certainly ways to do it, but
You know, for 7 mana, you're doing a lot. This card can get gross.
what's that? I think it's Nim Deathmantle, where you could keep bringing the creature back.
Yeah, you could do it. Nem Deathmantle. There's cute
Yeah.
shit that you could do with this card.
Yeah.
There's ways to cheat it out.
All right,
Like
so
Eldritch Evolution into this or something.
Extract the Truth.
Redundancy for mono black enchantment removal.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noted. The only thing I noted about the spell was, oh, black's getting more enchantment hate.
Yeah, I think that's all there is to say about it. I mean, you know, I guess a little bit of hand hate being in there is not terrible as well.
Yeah, at least it gives you the hand hate with an option to do something different with it if the hand situation isn't worthwhile. But
Yeah,
it just seems like redundancy for getting rid of enchantments and not much else.
yeah. I like you're putting it in your deck. You're putting it in your mono black deck to deal with enchantments. But you know, being able,
Maybe your black red deck as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it hits a lot of things. Creature, enchantment, or planeswalkers. That's a pretty wide array of things.
Yeah, but that's only in the hand.
But
On the field, it's enchantment only. So
yeah,
it's pretty much black or black red, and that's it.
I like that they at least gave me options with the card. Like it does more than just one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
That's
right, so
hilarious.
we're up to our second card that reminds me of song lyrics. Fake your own death.
So there's a deck in Pauper called Zubaira Storm, where your whole goal is to just trigger as many Zubaira death effects as you can, and you run stuff like, I think it's unnatural stamina, pretty much a similar effect. I
Yeah.
see it seeing play in there.
Even
It
like,
doesn't matter if they come into play tapped, but the fact you create a treasure, I do enjoy.
yeah, that's pretty good. Even though that type of ability is usually only 1 mana anyway. But
I mean,
and
two mana up front, and you get one back whenever you want, and it can color effects like if you only have black available and you need like a different color, then it can do that. But yeah,
yeah, and the thing is too is like it's a pretty decent combat trick. You know,
Yeah.
it's a 2 mana. It's 2 mana. It potentially allows your creature to kill the opposing creature, and then even if it dies itself, it's going to come back, and you get a treasure token. That just seems pretty good.
decks like maybe I would run something like this in like a what is it? The new Grixis Guild Mage lead. Um, Xandar is his name, right? Xanon, right?
Yeah,
That's the name?
Xander.
Lord yeah, like Lord Xander type of ability I would run, right? That's how I'm thinking about doing it. Just like heavy on the recursion for Xandar. Sack him, hate everybody. Once everybody's out of options of ways to kill him, start just attacking and going in for the kill.
Mm.
The redundancy, but these types
Yeah.
of effects are there are certain decks that really like these types of effects, and having more of them is not a bad thing.
Yep. Girder Goons. First card we're seeing with Blitz too.
yeah, I'm
Blitz-
not. I'm not gonna get into Blitz. I've done enough about Blitz this whole week.
Blitz is really good dope. Blitz is really dope. This card is not.
Blitz is a static ability that gives 2 static abilities and a delayed trigger.
Yeah, it's a rules nightmare. I know.
It's only because of the wording. If they had left out, are we doing commander cards like Streets of New Capenna Commander?
Oh yeah, we're gonna. I mean, eventually, because I'm pretty sure that once we're done with Black tonight, we're gonna pretty much stop,
Okay.
and we'll pick up another night. But
That's true. This video's already like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
we're almost 3 hours, dude.
That's true. Oh god, you're right.
Oh God, you're right. Yes,
And we still have a bunch of black cards to go through.
Okay.
I can math. Anyway,
Oh my god.
Fast speed mode because
yeah. So
This is
we could move past the
yeah.
those guys.
This is a good time for you to announce your tutoring services and your OnlyFans, Red.
Ugh.
Yeah, right. Graveyard Shift.
I like this card. I like it just because it has flash.
Yeah.
In the right deck, it's going to be very interesting. And there's a lot of decks for which it might be the right deck.
Like 5 mana is pretty common for this type of ability, but giving it flash for 5 mana, like, oh yes, it's a condition, but like, let's face it, if the types of decks you're gonna play this, you can have that easily.
Yeah,
By the way,
it's really not going to be a problem.
At first, I thought when I used to see that when I saw this thing where like a bunch of cards have in the set where it's 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, it doesn't care if they're different mana values. It's just 5 or more mana values. So it's just like you have 5 1-drops.
No.
There you go. You met the condition. Yeah.
No. It has to be different mana values.
No, it doesn't. At 5
It can't.
Or more
It
values.
can't be 1 It has to be 1 3 4 5 6.
No, because I think it would have said 5 or more different mana values among cards in your graveyard.
That's it. It really should. I wonder if they did that. I didn't notice it was left off. If it was left off other cards that are similar to this, I almost
It
want to
is.
scroll back and look.
It is. At first I saw this ability. I saw that on a lot of cards, and I was like, these cards are trash. Like, you know how hard you have to work to have 5 different mana values, but it doesn't say 5 different mana values. It says 5 or more mana values.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be eroded because they could have just said non-land cards. They could have said the spell is flesh as long as there are 5 or more non-land cards in your graveyard. And it would have worked just exactly the same.
I hope not, because that makes these types of abilities a lot better, because if you have to do the other way, then those types of abilities are kind of garbage. Because even in Commander, like, getting, like, 5 different mana values in your graveyard is annoying.
Yeah, I'm curious now to see if it's worded this way on other cards as well, because that's really abstract. That
I was looking at...
It's saying means that there are at least 5 mana values among those cards.
Yeah, but like you could...
Yeah, but one is a mana value and 5 ones is 5 mana values. You know, I understand the logic on both sides of the argument. So like, you know, don't either of you get me wrong. Like, I understand both sides of it. I think they meant what Mac is saying about 5 different mana values. I would imagine they're going to have to errata something, or at least make it explicitly clear that this wording, we're leaving out the word different, but we mean different.
Like if it's the other way, then it's going to make these types of decks like almost impossible to really get off, because you have to go through so much effort to like fill up your graveyard. And then you have to build your decks in very specific ways, especially like, remember, this is like a standard set, so just like...
So this doesn't like confirm one way or the other, but I'm looking at the release notes right now. It says if an effect allows you to cast Graveyard Shift from the graveyard, you may cast it anytime you could cast an instant if you have 5 more mana values among cards in your graveyard immediately before you begin to cast it, even if moving it to the stack will reduce that number to 4. That still leaves it ambiguous.
That's kind of cool though, because like you could still get that. There's no Delve-like cards, but like, you know, if you have to like, as an additional cost to cast a card.
Yeah, that's like timing minutia stuff that can be important at times.
Yeah.
Usually the stuff that we end up asking as a question, like in the middle of a game, like, hey, does this work the way I think it works? You know, but
that's pretty cool.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out for other cards like that, because I want to see if the wording is the same. Because that's interesting if that's the way it's worded on all of them, and or maybe if that one's just the outlier. So what about Grizzly Sigil?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many hoops you have to jump through. Next card.
I think for Commander it's not a good card. The art is cool though.
Oh yeah, the art is fine, but otherwise...
I think Illicit Shipment is really good.
Yeah, Illicit Shipment, it was actually one of the cards I noted. It's kind of a slow tutor, because 5 mana is a lot, but the fact that you could sack and tutor for 2 cards...
Like a friend of mine was talking about it. Like, a friend of mine yesterday bought like a collector's pack, and he saw this card, and he had built a Keurig CDH deck, right? And they run another card that's kind of similar. It's like a 5-drop, and it's like a tutor. But like the casualty 3 on this might be relevant in that type of deck, because it's just like pay 3 mana and sack a creature with power 3 greater, search for 2 cards can be really fucking strong.
The most I can back on the previous one for a split second, because I decided to look up to see if people had asked about it in the Reddit thread. From what I'm seeing, people are saying that it's implied to be different, but it's not obvious. If all you have in your graveyard are Grizzly Bears, then you only have 1 mana value in your graveyard too.
Got you. Yeah.
I want to see like just something come out and point out that
they really should have been explicit about that.
Yeah, and it's hard to look it up too, because it's not like it's a keyword or anything, which is weird.
Like, even
it seems like something that would have been a keyword.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why it wasn't even like an ability word where they could say, well, all the abilities are like this. Then it would be super obvious if one of them was worded incorrectly.
Yeah.
You know, or if all of them were worded incorrectly, then it's like, okay, well, maybe we should have worded it better. You know, because I really
Yeah.
think that's an issue that somebody should have raised a hand and said, hey, you know, can we error proof this and just make sure we're explicit about what we mean by mana value?
Well, even though it's not like the official like thing, even a reminder text saying this means different. Just
Yes.
Yeah, literally just add the word different, and it would explain the
Yeah.
perfect. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying, like, for the one word adding to make it sound better and be clearer, like, I think they could have afforded that one extra word.
yeah.
All right. Incriminate, bad card. Pretty bad.
2 mana, 2 mana, kill off 2
Sorcery,
things is kind
sorcery.
of
No,
decent.
kill off one thing.
What is it? It's also common to like, in Pauper getting rid of 2 big threats for.
But
No,
there
no,
are
no, no.
other
One, and your opponent gets to choose which one
Oh,
of the two.
sorry, quest. There.
and sorcery.
This card's worse than I thought. Never mind.
Yeah, yep. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
And
Not
your
gonna lie.
opponent needs 2 creatures. That's
Yeah.
so bad.
Yes, and that's the other part. They have to be controlled by the same player.
Yeah.
So no, absolutely not. Join the Maestros.
Well, here you were talking about ogres earlier. Here you go.
Yep, and casualty too. You could basically trade up tokens.
Yep.
You trade up a couple of zombie tokens, but most of the time you'd rather have the zombie tokens because you have more synergies.
Yeah, there's no times I would think about running this card. 5 mana for this ability seems like really expensive.
If I ran ogre tribal, I would probably be forced to run this card.
Oh yeah, you need more ogres.
There's scraping the bottom of the barrel, then there's whatever the hell I have to do to get better ogres.
I really hope they add more ogres though.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Maestro's Initiate.
I think this card's not terrible. This, if you're playing Nekasari, you might not hate this card.
Makes
I
the
don't
angel,
like-
makes the angel cheaper.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
I don't like it, but I don't want to like poo-poo it. I just like the graveyard ability to draw to discard one fine, but yeah.
This is another card I'd feel much better about if it wasn't in 3 colors.
Yeah. This does not spark joy is basically my mood on this.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes. I think that's it. That's all there is to really say about it.
Yep. All right, Vampire Assassin. A Midnight Assassin. It's a Vampire Assassin, so.
I mean, I feel like 3 mana.
Hey, if we trade away 1 black for 1 generic, then you get a lifelink less Vampire Nighthawk.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, exactly. Not that good. Okay. Murder. We've seen...
I've definitely never seen this card before.
Oh yeah, totally. Nightclubber.
It's a most foul card.
Yes.
Nightclubber is hilarious.
Yeah, Nightclubber's pretty funny, but
I'm gonna
I
be a
don't know.
horrible person and just have an altar of a baby seal on it.
It's so fucked up because I had the same thought when I saw this card. We are some sick fucks.
Oh yeah.
But the ability's not that great. But having Blitz on it kind of makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, the fact that you get to draw a card off of it at the end of the turn. I guess it's okay, but I'm not excited.
Well, like me and Reaper were talking about like Blitz, and just like the fact is that it gains that ability. It doesn't matter when you kill it, right? You could just like play it, then sacrifice it. You still draw the card.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's all there is to really say about it.
As long as the key thing is as long as it still has Blitz.
Yeah.
Yep. Rafine Silencer.
I don't really care for this card.
Yeah,
It's a sad.
I was gonna say, I hope everybody's gonna be silent so we can just move on to the next card.
Solid and limited.
It's an assassin. That's
Yeah,
all I gotta say.
whoopie do. Revel Ruiner.
Well, this just ruined my mood.
Yeah,
It's a rogue. It's a
Yeah.
rogue with some type of evasion. Menace is some type of evasion, maybe.
Menace is fine.
It's okay.
yeah, it's all right.
It's pretty. Yeah. Rogues Gallery.
Rogues Gallery, though, yeah, that now
That's a good effect.
it's a good effect if you're playing a lot of colors.
Yeah.
You want to be playing like 5 color for really
Yeah.
to think.
I don't think it's a particularly good card, but it's a fun card. Like, yeah, sure. I'm playing 5 color like creature pile. Sure.
You know, I mean, there's still some people who play cards like Seasons Past. I mean, this is
Seasons Pass is still a good card, but
Yeah,
no, it's not a good card Rogues Gallery is not a good card typically, but it has its place, and it's a fun card to play with.
you know, if you're playing 3 colors, like let me see, but maybe I would consider this in something like I have like a Niv Mizzet Dragon deck, so like maybe something like this is something I would play because it's just like, you know, I dump those cards later on to the graveyard, I could just return them back because I'm running different color combinations.
Yeah, like Niv Mizzet, Reborn. Yeah. Return 5.
yeah. The more diverse my Atraxa deck gets, the better this card looks in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a fine card because, you know, like the more colors you're running, the more potential you have to gain cards back from it. You know, like if you're getting 3 cards back for this for 3 mana for 3, it's not bad.
Yeah, like the reason why I bring up the Atraxa deck is because it used to be very heavy green blue, but now there's a lot more like green white, green black, blue white. You know, there's more variance in the colors, so I have more cards I can get back from it. You know, and I'm playing the 2 mutate creatures from Ikoria that I could play in the deck as well. You know, which helps spread me out color-wise even more. You know,
I want to say,
and hey, if I know I have it in my hand, I can always put Atraxa in my graveyard after a board wipe.
you know what's cool about Rogues Gallery? I just want to know, so they look like they're in a police lineup. I just want to know who was able to line up all 5 crime bosses at the same time. Who has the balls?
Yeah,
Isn't
right.
this like a reference to Suicide Squad or something? Maybe.
Could be.
Yes, Amanda Waller. Canon.
No, good card. Good card for multicolor decks, though. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sanguine Spy with that amazing artwork.
So this is one of the cards I was talking with Reaper about, and at first, like when I first saw it, and I was thinking about like if the thing is, you know, 5 or more different kind of mana costs, then this card's garbage. But if it's just 5 or more mana values, then this card's actually really solid, right? Because if you could just dump 5 cards into the graveyard,
Well,
you know, like this card could be great in that condition, because this is the type of effect you want early on.
I think it is different now that I'm like,
Because at the beginning of your end step, if there are 5 or more mana values among cards you can graveyard, because if it was 5 or more different value mana
it's like
values,
5 or more mana values. It's 5 or more numbers among cards.
yeah. So like that's why, like if it's 5 or more numbers, I mean 5 ones is 5 numbers.
you know what? You know what
But it's
really
only
makes me. What makes me upset about this ability is that land cards have no mana value instead of being mana value 0.
No, they have a mana value of 0 when you're looking at this.
Oh, they do.
Yes.
Oh, then
Mana
that
value is CMC.
yeah, but lands technically don't have a CMC at all.
Yeah, that's
They
pretty
have a
sure.
no. They
That's pretty sure. Because then it would make no sense that like artifacts have their artifacts like 0.
how do you bring back a land with Sun Titan then?
Yeah. So
Good point.
yeah. So
They
then,
do have a
so
mana
then
value.
if lands count as 0, then it's not as bad because then you really just need 4 other mana values and a land. And lands are not hard in Commander. fetch lands.
Yeah.
So
From the release notes on Graveyard Shift I saw up, the mana value of a land is 0.
Perfect.
The mana value of a split card in your graveyard is the total mana value of both halves. It does not have 2 mana values.
Yeah, that changed a while ago, but I'm sure they're reiterating that in the release notes.
Actually, doesn't it kind of also confirm that the implicit other is there? Because otherwise, wouldn't split cards have 2 mana?
No.
Mana?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
They changed that a while back.
Ah,
Yeah, you can't put Fire Ice on Isochron Scepter anymore.
no, I knew about that.
Yeah, but it's the same rule. It's the same problem.
Yeah.
That
Still need to.
yeah.
But
yeah, because if it works the way I'm saying, then this card is good. If it doesn't work, then all of these cards are bad.
No, I still think they're pretty decent because in a lot of black decks you're going to be able to get a good variance of mana costs in your graveyard within a reasonable period of time to make it useful.
I don't know, especially considering this is the standard set. Like putting 5 cards into the graveyard is, maybe not like super hard, but like 5 or more different mana values means that you have to be running your deck in a very specific way, right? You have to be like, every card has to be unique, and you have to be like, okay, well, this card's a 1 cost, this card is a 2 cost, this card's a 3 cost, this card's 4 cost. You have to run it in those different ways to build a deck, and then that's just to you have to fill your deck with a lot of mill cards to get to that point. It's just like, well, this is a pain in the ass for what value? Because like it's not like these cards have like crazy busted abilities.
Nah, because all you need is 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, Toxic Deluge is 3, Damnation is 4.
You need 5 different mana values.
Yeah, but the lands are easy. This is what I'm saying. Lands are relatively easy because of fetch lands.
Yeah, that's right. But like, still 5 or more mana values is definitely like not as easy as it seems. Like even in Commander.
Like I'm not saying it's incredibly easy. I'm just saying it's not as hard as you think it is either.
Like to get off some of the abilities for some of these cards, I feel like.
I think it's one of those things where, like, next time you play a round of games, just keep track of like different mana values in your yard, and just like see it over time for yourself, and like see if red is right or if your thoughts are right on that.
Yeah, if you're putting a decent amount of cards in your graveyard normally anyway, you're going to get to 5 values eventually.
And also, how often do you see wheel? Because that can easily just... I'm not relying on wheels to do it, but a wheel would likely, if you're not setting it up and you have it just cast against you, will set it up.
Yeah, like Sanguine Spy is not the kind of vampire you want to play in a vampire deck. It's the kind of card you want to play in a deck that's going to get you to that quickly, so you're already doing things to put you in that position anyway, and you're building your strategy around it so you can do that.
Well, right, I kind of disagree with that. I would play in a vampire deck because it is still a Menace Lifelink 2/3 with like a grind value to it. So if I start running out of steam, then I can at least try and
like in Edgar, I guess, because you have enough creatures where you can afford to sacrifice. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But like it's not like it's not in there because it's a vampire. It's in there because it's got great abilities, and it's going to do a lot for your deck.
Yeah,
you're putting it in there because it's actually worthwhile. But it could go in so many other decks too, and I really think that it's not as hard if you're trying. It's definitely not hard to get 5 or more mana values of cards in your graveyard. Buried Alive could do that for you. Buried Alive gets you 4 out of 5 of them.
That gets you 3.
It gets you 4 because the Buried Alive is going to your graveyard too.
I guess. Like, okay, but now think of this card. This was designed for a 60 card format, right? So like,
well, they're not just designed for 60 card formats anymore, though. I mean, Commander is too ubiquitous now for
they have a lot of cards. They have a lot of cards with this not keyword ability. That's inability. Like
yeah, the thing is too though, like if you're using connive abilities, you're putting cards into your graveyard, and you're going to put cards with different mana values in there. That could be the deciding factor in choosing which card you're going to discard when you connive.
Yeah, definitely.
I think even in standard it's fine. Like I don't have a problem with it. And in Crimson Vow you have blood tokens. You have to discard cards on that. You have ways to engineer your graveyard.
Yeah,
In
it
black,
just seems like a lot of it just seems like a lot of hurdles you got to jump through. And
in Commander, those hurdles are not that great.
in
Not
Commander,
if you're trying, dude. Buried Alive, like I said, Buried Alive puts 4 of them in there, and then a land can be number 5. You turned on turn 2 maybe. Now, granted, if your graveyard gets fucked, then, well, sorry, you're fucked. But that's any graveyard strategy, regardless whether you're trying to benefit off of Sanguine Spy and cards like this.
Yeah, I just don't think these cards' abilities are that strong to really be jumping through that many hurdles for them.
I don't think you. I think if you're already doing it, you're not jumping through that many hurdles. Or at least you're jumping over easy hurdles because you're already going to jump over them anyway.
I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like,
Yeah.
there should be there should definitely be talk about this out. The set's been out for like a week already.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's fine in the right deck.
I just really wish they like these cards, like this ability had a name, so it was like it would be something that you could look for.
Yeah, it would be nice. Anyway, enough about Sanguine Spy. I mean, like I said, card art's amazing. Should point that out again.
Yes.
Another pretty decent card art, Shadow Immortality.
I mean, you know what's been said about this card that hasn't already been said. You know, you want this for the ninja chick.
Yuriko, I was actually
Yeah.
I thought that we were going to quickly go over this and dismiss it. But the beautiful thing is you're already playing, some people still play garbage like Draco, which does nothing in the deck. Blink Moth Infusion, you can at least pitch it off to a Force of Will. This...
Oh. Okay, I found guys, I found it. So Sanguine Spy gathers official thing in the rulings. 5 or more mana values among cards in graveyard means there are at least 5 different mana values among those cards.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we have now it is confirmed.
Yeah.
Weird that wasn't in like the release notes. I only checked for Graveyard Shift, so. But.
Shadow Mortalities, Avatar, that might be also a relevant keyword.
Yeah.
Like, relevant creature type.
Off of Yuriko, it domes him for 15, and you need to be at like 28 life. Like 28-ish life puts it at 1 black.
Yeah, it could
27 life makes it black,
really cheap.
and like it's not what you want to be like really playing. You don't want to be playing like vanilla 7/7, but a vanilla 7/7 for 2 and like Yuriko that you can just like flip off of Yuriko for 15 damage. Sure, if you're playing Draco, it's an easy switch.
I mean, in Yuriko, where you already have like the possibility of some like top deck manipulation. Now, if you have like this in Scroll Rack with Yuriko, things are gonna get fucking brutal, right? Because you can just like draw into it and then just be like, all right, you know, I'm gonna put it back in the top of my deck, and just like keep hitting people for 15. That could be brutal.
Yeah, and even though I said earlier that like CDH is tending more towards creatures now, they aren't tending towards dealing with 7/7s.
Yeah, having a 7/7 that you could beat people with. You know, going down to 28 life, you could do that so easily. I've definitely in CDH gone to like such a low.
You used to play Selenia, so yeah, you play around with your life total all the time.
Dude, it's like, oh, I got 7 library. Ooh, I like these cards a lot. I guess I'm taking 8. But I mean, you would only really see this card in Yuriko, I think. I know there's not a lot. There's not a lot of other places where I think you would see this card.
Maybe in some Bio Smasher deck?
That's my physics.
Because 2 mana 7/7 pop an opponent random for 15.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like that's even more niche than the Yoko wanting this. But that's just it. It's worth mentioning. Just those two.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be taking advantage of the converted mana cost being 15 for it to be really worth playing.
Yeah. Erratic Explosion. I think there's like a modern deck that uses that. No, it's one of the cards from Modern Horizons 2.
It's
like
similar.
you
It's
play-
similar to Erratic Explosion. Yes, I
Yeah.
know the card. I just
Yeah,
don't know
like
the name.
you play Autocathon Worm and like another. I think it's Emrakul or something. It's like, sure, but
Yeah, yeah, you can play it there, but like I'm saying, like unless you have a way to take advantage of the 15 mana value, I don't know how worth it's going to be in Commander. Like, yeah, there's situations where it's a 2 mana 7/7, but it doesn't have trample, it doesn't have evasion at
Yeah.
all. It's not really going to
think-
do anything for you on the table.
like again,
Maybe-
its only home is Yoko in my mind. Like only like
maybe casual like graveyard centric decks is like really easy to lower your graveyard, and then having a constant 7/7 to beat people with could be decent. I think we've said all we can say about this card.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say. I think we're done. I think we're moving on. Shakedown Heavy. It's another ogre.
And a warrior. Warrior is relevant.
Yep.
I think it's interesting that we got the Kraken and then we got this card as well. I think this card's actually pretty fucking brutal. Because the best part about it is that it's not tapped down, so you can still use it as a blocker.
I would love to play this given haste.
I know in
think-
limited that if I see this card, I'm not looking at the rest of the pack. I'm snap taking this thing.
Oh yeah, it's amazing and limited for sure.
And if I
But-
get 2 of them, I'm going and buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah, this card's pretty fucking cool. 3 mana, you can draw you cards. Big beefy boy that's hard to get around.
Yeah, I just wish he had haste. Like if I had a way to give him haste, like I'd be totally on board with it as a creature.
Yeah.
But having a way to turn to potentially draw that card.
I think it is a flavor win as well. I feel like it does everything that like the artwork makes me think it would do.
Yeah, I love the flavor text too. Look, we both get what we want. I get your halo. You get to keep your kneecaps. Sounds good.
Tavern Swindler. The next card is
Nice reprint.
Sanguine Spy, right? It's Sanguine Spy, isn't it?
No, it's a reprint.
No, I'm saying like artwork.
Oh, no, Sanguine Spy is much hotter than that.
Yeah. I think Tavern Swindlers. Wait, let me zoom in on first before.
Something's weird about her face. I don't know, for me.
It's kind of uncanny valley. I think it's better than the Return to Ravnica one. The art.
No, I think the Return of Ravnica one's better.
Red's Discord Civil War.
Which Tavern Swindler is hotter? Alright, Tenacious Underdog.
Guy works out. Human Warrior for 2 mana is pretty cool. You can cast it from the graveyard. Got Blitz on it. This card's pretty good.
It's not bad. It's definitely nice, repeatable from the graveyard, which is always helpful.
I mean, if you're doing Najila, like Warrior Tribal, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Card draw. Just constantly. Sure, yeah. I'm down.
Yeah. And the artwork is nice too.
Yeah.
Alright.
Vampire
Yeah.
Scrivener.
There's some stupid fun deck that wants this where you're just constantly gaining and losing life in the same turn, just manipulating a life total just for a big beefy flyer. It's like, sure.
It's decent. I might want this like the black green Strixhaven Precon, like the face commander. He's like that goblin looking dude. You
Oh
know,
yeah, the witch.
yeah. So that commander might want this. That's a
I was thinking like fetch lands and Course of Kruphix. You lose a life for the fetch land. She gets a counter. You gain a life off Corsa. You gain a counter. She's a 4/4.
yeah.
Not
That's
the best use of it, but
I
Yeah,
mean
I mean,
the
there's definitely shenanigans. I really wish it was a cleric, because then you would
yeah.
there's probably some broken shit you can do with clerics with it.
yeah. I think she can be cool if she sticks around, but the problem is she's 5 mana, which is pretty mana heavy. But if she sticks around, I think this is the type of card that can win you a game.
Yeah, the 5 mana is a huge problem for a 2/2, only because you have to already have a way on the board to be gaining life and losing the life, and you have to be able to still do it on your turn after you cast the Vampire Scrivener.
Yeah, that's why
It's
that's why I
not
like
going to
it.
make it around the table as a 2/2, most likely.
Yeah, that's why I like it in that black green commander. Oh god, what's that card's name? Black green, because that commander cares about life gain and life loss. Oh wait, I see its name right here. Willow Dusk Essenseer. So pay one generic, tap it, choose another target creature, put a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the amount of life you gain this turn or the amount of life you lost this turn. Whichever is greater, activate only as a sorcery. So, I mean, this card gets counters on it for that type of ability as well. So, I feel like they got a lot of synergy together.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I could also see it in like a Soul Sisters kind of deck. That's
Yeah.
like white black, where you're
Sure.
constantly like gaining one, gaining one, gaining one, gaining one, gaining one, and you're gaining one from lots of different sources. It's definitely a card that rewards you for gaining small amounts of life very frequently.
Yeah. If you've already got some setup by the time this card hits the field, it's gonna get huge and potentially win a game. It just needs some setup to really get you to that point.
Yeah, and the problem is, as always, keeping the setup on the table, and not having it wiped away before you get to 5 mana to actually put the Vampire Scrivener down on the table.
Yeah, it's like you said. I feel like you proved a good point. Like with Essence Warden types of abilities, like they could be really good because like she enters the battlefield, she sees the life gain, she gets the triggers, she gets bigger right away.
Yeah, it's like that incremental, constant up one, up one, up one. If you're gaining 10 life at a time, it's not helping.
Woo, we're about to reach our last card.
Yay! And it's
Or black.
Great name.
Agreed. That's all we need to say about this card.
Yeah, because
Good
there's really nothing else to say about it.
Perfect.
Just whack it. All right, so we're gonna have to pick up another night and continue this.
Hi, we've only been at it for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, well, I think this is the one thing I was worried about. I'll be honest with you, that we were gonna take so long just going back and forth with each other and bullshitting about cards that
Yeah.
it was gonna drag on a little. That's why I was trying to speed us up and move us along a little bit.
Oh my god. We should start
I will try
with
harder.
green. We should start with green. I'm looking at how many green cards there are. Jesus.
Oh no, I think green was like my biggest list.
Oh my god, it's huge.
No, it wasn't actually. Which color had my biggest list? I think blue had my biggest list. Yeah.
Oh, there's so much we have to go through.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good green stuff. The multicolor list is going to be... Woo, multicolor is going to take us a long time to get through because we got a lot of commanders to talk about.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the artifacts are mostly boring, and the lands we could talk about all at once.
Yeah.
Because the lands are pretty easy. There's 3 cycles of lands, and all 3 of them are worth talking about.
There's only like one artifact I can think of off the top of my head I want to talk about, and it's the one you both probably have at the list of what you want to talk about. The freaking sword.
I had 3 cards on my artifact list, and the sword was the most important one. Yes.
It's funny. I really don't care for the sword very much. It's cute. It's cute.
Like,
It's not my style.
All I have to say is like one thing on it, and that's it. But I'll wait till then.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I don't have a lot to say about it either, but the thing I have to say about it's really, really good.
Actually, I'll just say right now because it's funny. Huh? Someone at Wizards must have a devoted druid fetish.
Yeah, I was thinking finally an equipment that could go for planeswalker decks.
Finally, a card that combos with devoted druid.
Yeah, that too. It certainly does.
We've been wanting that for, I don't know, 10 minutes since we got the last one. But anyways.
Yeah, right. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here. I guess I can't do tomorrow. We're gonna play Commander on Friday. I can't do Saturday. I don't know if I could do Sunday, but Sunday would probably be the earliest where we could pick this up and resume. So we'll talk about it over the next couple of days.
Yep.
Yeah, if I'm free, then I'll join in.
No doubt, no doubt. That's pretty much how it's going to be. Who's ever around will join in. Who's ever not around, we'll get you next time.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, but hope everybody watching had a good night, and head on out.
Yep. I can't wait
Let me
to
shut
see.
down the stream.
I can't wait to see what other civilians are